Maybe Seymour Butts, Mike Crotch, other names that turn out to be dirty jokes. Oldest trick in the book, prank calls.
Yep, everybody's done it.
Apparently, a couple of Texas A&M fans thought that they could use it and to get into the biggest college football game of the year. I had read these guys got arrested. I did not read until Tyler sent this last night that these were the guys and actually the aliases that they used.
Well, it was actually in the arrest report, and the original arrest happened, and then a reporter found the arrest report, and these were listed.
Tickets to the game, hard to come by. They said the average ticket to the game, $1,100 on StubHub. During the game, these fans tried to get a little creative to get in. The Texas A&M Police Department tweeted out that they had arrested 2 men wearing reflective vests and hard hats who had entered the stadium with fake credentials. A reporter in Texas decided to do some digging into the situation. As it turns out, these guys had interesting names on their credentials. One, Harry Ascrack. The other, Duncan Mycockener.
Yep. That's the way you pronounce that, too.
That is that Irish?
It is Scottish, actually.
Oh, Scottish? Okay.
Yeah, Duncan Mycockener.
Yeah, there is no word on charges, what the charges the young pranksters are facing. But there you go.
Wow.
Harry Ascrack and Duncan McCoggin.
Hey, before we go, can we go back to the guy at Publix? Because King MJ in the MyBookie.ag chat room says, I'll tell you who it looks like. It looks like Ryan Day when Fox cut to him after the end of the game.
So what happened?
Yeah, but he looked a little more confused than mad, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That is Trash, brought to you by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, whether you're looking for your first home, your final home, need a big down payment or 100% financing, these guys are your mortgage experts. They can help. 205-900-7200 or mortgageright.com.
All right, mybookie.ag. Take a look at some of these point spreads. First of all, I'm excited about this Thursday night game, Lance, your favorite coach in this one. I think this will be an excellent game Thursday night with Detroit and Green Bay. Green Bay right now on the road, and Detroit a 3.5-point underdog. So Detroit the 3.5-point home favorite. I think that's going to be a fun game.
Oh yeah, and that seems like a low number for some. The way Detroit had been dominating until the second half against Chicago, and they got backdoored on Thanksgiving. But it should be a great game.
I mentioned that yesterday we were talking about the point spreads of these championship games. Everything was 6 points or more, 4 points or less. And I mentioned that a couple had jumped over 4 points. Jacksonville State, one of those did not hold, boys. Back down to -4, Jack State -4. In the big games at mybookie.ag, you've got Arizona State a 2-point favorite in the Big 12 championship over Iowa State. Texas a 2.5-point favorite in the SEC championship over Georgia. In the the Big 10 championship, Oregon a 3.5-point favorite over Penn State. And in the ACC, SMU a 2.5-point favorite over Clemson. All those games that I just mentioned can be played at mybookie.ag. Code next round at mybookie.ag. Here's what you're getting right now with code next round. You are getting a 300% deposit bonus in the casino area. You use code next round. You make your initial deposit. They give you a 300% bonus in the casino. You can play with it right away. MyBookie.ag code next round. MyBookie.ag code next round. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie.ag code next round.
We'll be in Atlanta this week for the SEC Championship. It is Georgia and Texas. Steve Sarkisian telling everyone that he really wants Georgia to see the best Texas has to offer. Here's Sark yesterday.
You know, the external motivators are nice sometimes, but the internal motivators are what we should be focused on. That, you know, I think we're a pretty good football team. I don't think we played very good against them the first time out. And I think ultimately, you know, they deserve to get our best shot. I know we're going to get their best shot. They deserve to get our best shot. And I think the fans and the people watching this game that are all going to tune in deserve to get the best version of Texas football. And that's what our focus is on.
And
the bye, you know, it's interesting because that first round game, I think there's, you know, I don't know, almost just about 2 weeks in between. If you get the bye, you've got about 3.5 weeks or so. I don't know what the exact number is. Hey, I would love to get as healthy as we can get, but ideally, you know, nobody's going to be 100% healthy at this point of the season. I mean, everybody's got bumps and bruises. It would be nice, but again, there is that extended layoff even between the championship game and the first round.
See, he started to say it, but then he stopped.
It's too much time off.
It almost would be 2 weeks, play a game, almost 2 weeks, play another game. You risk some injuries, you risk a loss, but You stay fresh.
Yeah,
boom, boom, boom.
I mean, if you're South Carolina, not that they're going to get in, but they want to play immediately.
They're hot.
Yeah, you don't want to lose any steam. I love hypotheticals. Did you guys see the one that Greg from Pell City sent us?
No. What is it?
Just posted this hypothetical.
Follow Brownie on Twitter and Instagram at ryanbrownlive. Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, the next round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
The SEC Basketball League goes 9-1 against the ACC last night in the challenge. It continues tonight. Alabama at North Carolina, number 1 in the KenPom Auburn, and number 4 in the KenPom Duke in Cameron Indoor will set the table for another big night in basketball. But we have to start with the story everyone's talking about. My goodness, Alabama has pissed off the college football world again, LT.
Yeah, you look, and I don't know what you have to say if you're some of these other teams. Like, everybody's got flaws, right? So whoever this final team to get in, I don't know how they can bitch and complain. If Alabama gets left out, we said it on Monday, they don't deserve to be in. Miami, I don't believe deserves to be in. South Carolina's got 3 losses. Ole Miss has got 3 losses. Look, all these teams are flawed. Somebody's got to get in, though.
Brown, I'll say this. I am shocked. The ACC is shocked this happened to them again.
What? You'd have thought they would have learned?
I know we will get to this point, but Ward Manuel said it last night about Miami when it was head-to-head Miami-Alabama.
Yeah.
Like, they don't have the top 25 losses. They don't have the strength of schedule. If SMU loses this game, Miami or SMU and Alabama, it's the same argument.
Yeah, I think that's different, in my opinion, and you and I are different. I think at that point, SMU will be judged as a 1-loss team, not a 2-loss team, because of the extra game being the conference championship game. That's my opinion, the way they'll judge it. You differ, and a lot of people differ with me. And I believe last night they did help Alabama out at the bottom of the rankings by sliding Syracuse in, who SMU did not play.
Right.
Instead of sliding 4-loss Louisville in, who's got a much tougher strength of schedule than Syracuse with 3 losses. If they'd slid Louisville in, even if they slid Syracuse and Louisville in at the bottom, that would have helped SMU.
And I thought they would. I thought just to have that piece, whatever they did with
just
Alabama.
To give them options.
Yeah, to give them options where they could say, hey, look, they've got this top 25 win. And look, if SMU beats Clemson, they get a top 25 win, but they're going to be in anyway.
Yeah.
But if they lose, they don't have any top 25 wins. And it's not like Louisville. I mean, they said it last night. Teams that aren't playing are set. So Louisville can't move up.
Boy, that created a ton of confusion. A ton of confusion when Ward Manuel said that. And I knew the minute he said it what he meant, but what people would interpret what he was saying.
He got lost in Reese's first question.
That is right.
And he finally said, oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. And then he was like, they don't have any more data points. But to your point, they may not move in the rankings, but they could move in the seeding.
So I've had to answer this question a lot. I mean, if you guys...
Taylor said you were doing God's work last night.
That's what she said, the Lord's work on social media, because a lot of people were like, no. Ward Manuel said Bama's locked in. They can't fall out. And then I had people texting me, had a couple phone calls, took my daughter to her Taekwondo class. And, I mean, everywhere, everybody was saying the same thing. Did I hear Ward Manuel say that Alabama can't fall out? And I'm like, you did and you didn't. So I've answered it enough that I think I've got less than a 2-minute presentation if you would like for me to do it. And,
Absolutely.
and if Scott wants to put me on the single shot, he and Little T can clip this baby out and send it out, and we can educate some college football fans. Hello, college football fans. I know there was some confusion last night from Executive Director of the Playoff Committee, Ward Manuel, when asked by Reese Davis if a team such as Alabama could fall in the rankings when they are not playing this week. Ward Manuel told Reese Davis that there will be no more data points for Alabama, i.e. wins, losses, strength of schedule, so they can't fall. A lot of you heard Ward Manuel say Alabama is locked into the college football playoff. That is not what he said. To understand this, you've got to separate the rankings and the bracket. They don't have a one-to-one relationship because this college football playoff gives preference to college conference champions, the top 4 of which get an automatic bye. The top 5 get an automatic spot in the college football playoff, and that's where the confusion comes in. So Alabama may not fall from 11, but could still not make the playoffs. And here's the nightmare scenario where that happens. SMU plays Clemson. Clemson ranked behind Alabama. SMU ranked in front of Alabama. If Clemson beats SMU, Clemson has earned an automatic berth in the playoffs, but then the committee has to decide what to do with SMU. In a nightmare scenario for Alabama, they drop SMU to 10, so Alabama stays 11, but SMU is still ranked in front of them. Clemson also has a spot in the playoffs. The Big 12 champion also earns an automatic spot in the playoffs, and they also are ranked behind Alabama. So what results you have? 13 teams for 12 spots. 2 of those teams ranked behind Alabama get an automatic berth. In this nightmare scenario, SMU in front of Alabama is still ranked in front of Alabama, so they get an at-large berth. Therefore, Alabama stays number 11, but does not make the college football playoff.
So
Can you tell how many times I did that last night?
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh, thank you.
I felt like I had to clear you up on your drive around last night. We got it.
No. I was thinking Alabama, and I had not thought this all the way through, and I was like, what I was asking you is, could Alabama get to a 10 seed? I had not thought that all the way through, and you talked me through it, and I was like, oh, yeah, that's right, they could.
Yeah. Here's what I would say, though. Not all championship games are created equal, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, I mean, the ACC championship game is not the SEC championship game, and I'm just basing it on the last 2 weeks, the last 9 teams that have lost in the college football rankings. The least dropped team was Ohio State, 4 spots. Everybody else at least 5 spots or more.
Yeah.
So if you're just basing on consistency from the committee, if SMU loses, they drop. Let's just say they drop 3 spots.
I think Georgia, if you go back and look, when they lost, I think they were number 2 the first time they lost. I think they dropped 9 spots.
I think it was 8 or 9. Yeah, they dropped big from – that was after the Ole Miss loss, was it not?
Yeah.
Where Georgia dropped so big. That was what dropped them. They were actually all the way out of the bracket.
Okay, just last 3 weeks. Tennessee, when they lost to Georgia, I guess they dropped 4 spots. BYU, I forgot who they lost to. Kansas. They dropped 8 spots.
Yeah.
That was week 13. Week 14 – you had quite a few teams. You had Indiana lose. They dropped 5. Alabama lost. They dropped 6.
Yeah.
Ole Miss, 5 spots when they lost. BYU, 5 more spots when they lost. A&M, 5 spots. Colorado dropped 9 spots. And then just this week, not as many, but you had Ohio State with the shortest drop, 4 spots. Miami, 6 spots. Clemson, 5 spots. So if SMU loses, they drop 4 spots, which would be the least amount.
That's if they lose a regular season game. And to Jim's point, I just don't know if this committee is going to treat a conference championship game like a regular season game.
But all you got to do is go back to Ward Manual and say, hey, look, are we treating these games differently?
Well, I think they may.
They've said that all season long. In fact, how will you judge the conference champions? And they've said it's a reward to play in those, not a punishment.
But he also did not. He didn't answer this with Reese, but afterwards, Ward Manual does a teleconference with the national media, and our Emily Grace McWhorter was on there. And on that teleconference, he was point blank asked, if SMU loses, would they drop below Alabama? And he said possibly.
Potentially was
the
word.
He didn't close the door. So the door is, he's played both sides of it.
Yeah.
He said what he said about TCU, who he reminded everyone, hey, TCU lost a conference championship game and didn't drop 1 spot.
But again, they were undefeated at that point.
That's right. He said what he said about Miami. And he said possibly or potentially or whatever the word he used was at the teleconference.
Yes, is his quote, yes.
And so that covers all the bases. So Ward Manual has covered every side of this discussion.
Okay, yeah, but maybe you can't punish them, but at the same time, after they lose, they're not a conference champion, and then it's going to be side-by-side SMU, Alabama, and it's going to be resumes, strength of schedule, top 25 wins.
Resumes are nowhere close. I mean, if it's resumes,
it's not even close.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So
But you're not considering conference champions in yesterday's rankings either, and SMU is 8 and Alabama's 11. So that's on the resume you have right now, and they're not going to punish you for that one. And you may end up being right.
How did they get to 8?
Yeah, they got to 8 because of however they consider their. I've got their flaws.
Who, SMU?
Yeah,
they don't have a top 25 win. That's their flaw.
That's a big flaw.
I'm telling you, it's worse than that.
Okay.
With 8 minutes and 1 second to go in the fourth quarter in the opening game with Nevada, who, by the way, ended up 0-7 in the Mountain West and 3-10 overall.
Right.
They were down 24-13 in that opening game, and they come back to win. They lose to BYU 18-15 in that one. Duke, they go to overtime. Now Duke's 9-3, but Duke's schedule strength of schedule, you know where they're ranked and all that, to go to overtime. It's a 3-point game with Boston College. They win it by 10. They win it by 10 by scoring a touchdown with 8 seconds left on the clock instead of taking a knee.
So they were up 3, basically. You're saying they did some window dressing.
And they punched it in with 8 seconds left to do that one. And that's how they got to their record. So, I mean, those are some close, scary losses against some really bad or average teams.
Yeah, I mean, the good news for Alabama fans is it comes down, like if SMU wins this game, you are in 100%.
It's locked.
Yeah,
it's locked.
And if Clemson wins a game, I still think you're in. But, I mean, the only team you've got to worry about right now is one. We know that Miami, Ole Miss, and South Carolina are behind you, and nothing can happen there.
No, he told you that last night. That was what he meant by Alabama can't drop below 11.
I think the scariest thing really going into last night was Miami, Alabama, where that was going to be.
Yeah. I'm actually shocked. Again, I'm shocked that the ACC is still shocked. But I'm also shocked that Miami was ahead of Ole Miss and Miami was ahead of South Carolina. I thought Miami would be behind all 3 SEC teams or ahead of all 3. I didn't think they'd drop them right in the middle, and that doesn't make sense. Let's get a couple of sponsors and some reaction from the ACC as we make that point. Our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing, that is Greg from Pell City. You know your roof, so important to that home, right? You know, you got to have a good roof to have a good home. That's where Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing comes in. He'll get up there and give you a free inspection on that roof, let you know if anything, loose shingles, anything's happening up there. Get up there and let Greg do it for free. 205-542-3531. A-plus rated with the Better Business Bureau. You can look him up on Facebook, Greg from Pell City. You'll see his truck riding around with our logo on it. He and Andrea, locally owned for over 20 years. He's got sons-in-laws that are on crews. Just a great family-owned business, great relationship with insurance companies. It's our friends at Storm Restoration Roofing. Greg from Pell City, 205-542-3531. Reaction from the Miami AD on Twitter. Forrester has this for us, and he's a little upset, really, with 2 question marks. ... What put Bama over the top of Miami for the last spot is that Miami went 1-2 in their last 3 games. He goes by the average, against ranked Syracuse and Georgia Tech, which took Georgia to 8 overtimes. Bama went 2-1 to 5-7 Auburn, destroyed by Oklahoma, and they beat FCS Mercer. He ain't lying.
Yeah,
no,
he ain't lying. Those are facts. Now, he doesn't bring in the 9 games before that.
Yeah,
which the committee
Virginia
does.
Tech, where the ACC bailed them out.
Yeah.
100%.
And he's also making the recency argument, which the committee has never said they use recency, have they?
No.
I mean, I don't think the committee values a week.
I think Warden Manuel last night did say
He'll talk himself into some circles.
In the last 3 games, Alabama was 2-1, and Miami had lost 2 of their last 3 games. He did say that last night.
Okay, so that sounds like a recency argument.
Yeah.
Then.
While I was watching last night, somebody said, couldn't they get somebody better to head up this committee? And I said, that dude is the athletic director for Michigan.
That's right.
That guy's making $2 million a year.
Yeah.
He does sound lost.
Well, it's just...
it's a lot.
It's a lot, and you can talk yourself into circles very easily on this. Like, you could start defending Alabama and realize in the middle of it, I'm kind of making a case for South Carolina too, right? And then I've just said South Carolina does it. So, I mean, it is hard to do. I don't envy the guy having to do the interview.
What would the reaction be if he had said, the SEC has 3 teams in. We really need them to have 4 teams in. So we evaluated Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina, and Alabama comes out ahead of that group. So they're going to be here to make the ACC feel better. We're going to put them right behind Alabama and then put the other 2 SEC
So is that
teams.
what you think happened?
I do.
Yeah. So you're saying just the honesty approach. Like,
yeah. What if he came out and said, look,
well, Alabama plays in the SEC. We think they're better than Miami.
it's a tougher schedule. It's a tougher grind.
I mean, I'm just a Reese. I know everybody wants me to say something else, but Alabama plays in the SEC. We think they're better than Miami. Yeah. So you think if he says that, there's going to be outrage. But there's outrage either way.
Our history shows that we're not afraid to put 2 SEC teams in a 4-team playoff. We showed last year we're not afraid to leave out an undefeated ACC champion to put in an SEC team.
And maybe the best team in college football, though, was left out last year.
Yeah, and we left out an SEC team who was the best team, but we left out an unbeaten ACC champion. So we're going to continue. The precedent we've set is we think the ACC is better than the ACC, so we put Alabama ahead of Miami, which is what happened last night.
It's a made-for-TV product.
It is.
And when it comes down to SMU and Alabama, it's not even close. Now, maybe SMU will get in here. And I had some people asking me last night, what does SMU need to do outside of win? And I said, look, if they keep this game really close, if it's a classic ACC championship, then I do think SMU would get in over Alabama. Yeah. If this thing went 3 or 4, if we got Georgia Tech from Friday night in this game, I think both teams get it. Well, if Clemson loses, they don't. But if Clemson wins the game in that fashion, I think both would get in.
That's all I'm saying. I think there is a path for SMU to lose to be in there, which is what I've always said. Yeah. But there is a path for Alabama when SMU loses to get in there. One of them would be a little bit of a gap in the scoring. If it's not a classic game, if Clemson beats them by 2 touchdowns,
SMU's starting quarterback gets injured. I mean,
starting quarterback gets injured.
I mean, there are a lot of things that could happen. Yeah,
but there's a path for Alabama to get in there. And one of those is if you do start looking at the resume, like you said, LT. There's not a lot on there for SMU either, but there's a reason why SMU's been up there at number 8 this morning, and Alabama's at 11. But we'll see how it all works out.
I mean, I agree with Lance. I think SMU falls below Alabama with a loss. So to be abundantly clear, when I did the nightmare scenario, I'm just trying to answer the question everybody's asking. Like, didn't the guy say Alabama's locked in? They are locked in the rankings, but there's not a 1-to-1 relationship between the rankings and the bracket.
So Clemson beats SMU. You both think Alabama's in.
Yes.
And I think SMU stays in, barring a blowout.
And I don't know how you guys feel. I think Clemson's winning this game. So I think you're going to get that drama that Alabama fans have felt on that Sunday morning. I don't know, 4 or 5 times. I think Clemson wins this game.
I go back and forth. It feels like the most Clemson thing would be for Clemson to win this game.
I just think they're better in the trenches.
But I also go back to college football generally has completely blinked everything up, and it almost always works out for college football. You know what I'm saying? Like, college football gets to the end of the year, and there's all this mess, and it always seems to just smooth itself out for college football. Like, you think they've really screwed it up, and then everything just falls into place. Now, last year with Florida State and Alabama, that did not happen. You needed Florida State to lose to make it crystal clear, and then the committee just had to make the tough decision, Bama over Florida State.
Yeah, but there is zero drama next weekend if SMU wins, right?
None.
Yeah, there's not.
You just got it. The only drama is where the teams get sorted out so that you know where seeds 12, 11, 10, and 9 go to play.
That will be fascinating to know where people are going.
Who gets the home games.
Who gets the home games.
But I still think that Clemson is going to win this game, and you're going to have so much controversy, so much.
Tommy, I think it was, says the ACC refs will keep it close. Forrester is in with you guys thinking Clemson wins the football game.
But he also thinks Alabama is in no matter what. So
Forrester plays. Forrester's the opposite of you. He plays the mind game in the reverse with Alabama. You do the other way.
Yeah, I mean, I will say this: last year, Scott was adamant, and last year when I was saying, guys, listen to me, the SEC champion is not getting left out of this thing. And I think you were saying the same thing.
Oh, yeah, the SEC champion will be in there.
Yeah, and Forrester was adamant. He's like, Brown, they are not leaving out an undefeated Power 5 team. And I'm like, Scott, I know normally they wouldn't, but they're going to in this case. I've also been asked what happens if Boise loses. I mean, they're completely out and UNLV's in. I think that's pretty simple. Nobody thinks otherwise.
Yeah.
And there's no shot for the American because of Tulane's loss. Now, the Mountain West Championship game is the group of 5, the other conference champion.
And I think that's another product of the confusion. They see Boise in that 4 spot because of the bye. Boise in the rankings, though, is not 4th.
Boise is 10.
So they'll easily fall out with a loss to UNLV and UNLV.
But they did point out, I mean, this is one of the biggest flaws with this 12-team playoff.
Yeah, and Brown has been against this from the beginning.
Yep.
Having the 3 and 4 seed as conference champions there, because there is a case to be made that it is better to be the 11 or 12 seed SEC Big Ten teams that are really good, but not the SEC Big Ten champions, to play that path to where you travel the first week to a lesser opponent, and then you play a really lesser opponent in the next round to get to the Final Four.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, there's a case to be made that you're better off being the 5 seed to get say the Pac-12 champion is the 12, and then to get Boise State as the 4. I mean, you can make that case too.
Yeah, you could be the runner-up in the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yep.
And be the 5.
Get the 5. I don't have to play the extra game, and I get a home game.
Yeah, it's probably the easiest path. You're
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
5 is probably the easiest.
It probably
path.
is.
But then after 5, it may be 11.
Yeah.
Go on the road to a 6.
That's right.
And then you get the 3. This year it's SMU if they win out.
Yeah, could be Clemson. I mean, it's just wild to think about.
I mean, that's that's the thing you and I were talking about on the phone.
Yeah.
Clemson wins, and it looks like Clemson would still be the team that gets the bye.
Yeah. If they jump, they'd have to jump over the Big 12 champion.
No, the Big 12 champion would be the 3 seed.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you would have Arizona State or Iowa State,
And especially if UNLV wins, right?
Yeah. Right. That's
Yeah.
how
Oh,
this
yeah,
works.
yeah. Okay, so you're talking in
If UNLV wins,
That's right.
You'd have Iowa State, Arizona State winner is the 3 seed. If Clemson beat SMU, Clemson is the 4 seed, and then UNLV is the other team in there. If Boise wins, Boise could go as high as a 3 seed. Big 12 champion could be a 4 or Clemson, and then the other one is in the pool of death.
Yeah, it's such a mess. People are so confused by it because we study it every day. We know how it works, but imagine turning on the TV and seeing a team in the top 4 and then there's somewhere else in the bracket. It is super confusing.
BCS was pretty easy.
Yeah, we're so used to 1, 2, 3, 4 matters, right?
The easiest way to do it is just you lay the bracket out and you say, okay, how can I get Alabama in this? And you start there and you work it around. Basketball and then Tom Luginbill. It is National Signing Day. Keelan Russell, number 5, a 5-star quarterback, has signed with Alabama. We'll talk about that with Luginbill. Everything that's going on with Auburn, getting a top 5 class nationally. Who's going to be number 1? Luginbill's in our next segment to talk recruiting with us. We will do that coming up and all the National Signing Day stuff. Tell us about HydroLive before we do a little basketball in this opening segment here because we are a basketball state. Tell us, LT, about HydroLive.
Yeah, next Tuesday, our quarterback Daniel Jones will be in studio with bags, B12 shots, anything any of you guys want. But if you're looking for the IV therapy, cryotherapy, compression therapy, B12 shots, now weight loss therapy, all under one roof. You've got it at HydroLive Therapy. 2 locations in Birmingham, the original in Homewood, Highway 119 in Greystone. Also a Tuscaloosa location. Very important. Mention the next round. 20% off all the great services from our friends at HydroLive Therapy. Walk-ins are welcome, but you can book online, hydrolivetherapy.com. Gift cards this holiday season. Great stocking stuffer from our friends at HydroLive Therapy. Again, online, hydrolivetherapy.com for more information.
All right, we got basketball tonight. I can't remember, Lance. You will please have to remind me where you had the point spreads in these.
Between 2.5 and 3.5, both
right.
Home favorites.
North Carolina currently a 1.5 point home favorite over the Crimson Tide. Does that tell you more about Alabama?
Look, I mean, I think North Carolina and Alabama both have had their struggles recently.
Yeah.
I think that number's right.
Okay. Kansas at Creighton. That's an interesting game. Creighton unranked right now.
Brownie.
What?
Baylor, UConn, Kansas, Creighton, Marquette, Iowa State, all tonight.
It's a good night. You knocked Duke and Auburn out of the park. Duke a 2.5 point favorite. You nailed that one tonight.
Yeah. What's Kansas, 4.5?
Kansas 3.5 at Creighton. Yeah. So good night of basketball. You can play those games I just mentioned right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round. Mybookie.ag. Code next round. By the way, that Jack State line is dropping. Tyler Huff, the quarterback, questionable apparently. According to Joe Medley, who covers...
Got to fight at Brothers?
No, that was Freddie Kitchens. Got to fight at Brothers. Still the biggest fight I've ever seen in my life, man. That was an all-out brawl spilled out in Highway 21. Jacksonville State, a 3.5 point favorite. You've also got Texas still favored 2.5 over Georgia. Oregon 3.5 over Penn State. SMU 2.5 over Clemson. And in the Big 12, Arizona State 2 over Iowa State. That is all right there at mybookie.ag. Code next round gets you that 300% deposit bonus in the casino. You use code next round, you make your deposit, they give you a 300% deposit bonus in the casino to play with right away at mybookie.ag. Code next round, mybookie.ag. Code next round.
We'll tell you about MyBookie a couple more times throughout the show, but basketball tonight, the late game on ESPN 8:15 is Auburn playing at Duke. Here's Bruce Pearl. His team is going for, their 4th ranked win already this year? They've been impressive. Some think they have the best resume in the country, including me. Bruce says the challenge tonight is right there in Cameron Indoor.
You know, a year ago when we had the ACC SEC challenge, Alabama got Clemson and we got Virginia Tech. Arkansas got Duke. Tennessee, I think, deserved it. They got a team like North Carolina. Texas A&M got Virginia. And I think there was some discussion about these matchups, and my reward for raising some attention to the subject was to have to go to Duke. And so, what a fan I am of trying to make history. So whether it's the one offense versus the one defense, to me, it's more that we got a chance to compete and such a great program, such a great venue.
Yeah, well, he's talking about Auburn's number one in the Ken Pom in offense, Duke's number one in the Ken Pom in defense. Great matchup in maybe the greatest venue in college basketball.
Yeah, probably I don't know, it's got more lore than anything. Pauley Pavilion 30 years ago was probably that building.
Nothing like Cameron Indoor.
But this is the closest, and hear me here, this is the closest Auburn basketball players will understand what it's like to be a visitor in Neville Arena.
I agree.
This is the closest they'll come to being a visitor in their home arena as they go and play Duke, because Neville is so much like Cameron Indoor, and now Auburn tonight will feel what it's like when other teams come and play on their campus.
Yeah, look, and also, Cooper Flag, do we see any Janai Broom, or is it more Chad Baker-Mazara on him?
I'd go Chad Baker-Mazara.
I would too.
Yeah,
I would too. So
He'll get under your
athletic,
skin
6'7".
too,
Yeah.
At some point, Cooper Flag could go. Who was the guy who tripped and punched and did all that?
Grayson Allen.
Yeah, I know. I just described half of the white guys who ever played at Duke.
You got to be more specific.
But I think when Bruce was talking the history, Auburn's 0-3 all time versus Duke. So
0-4, I think.
Okay, I thought it was 0-3, but
they're 0 for something.
Yeah, they still have not beaten Duke. So when he talks about the history of this program, getting that first win over Duke, it does mean something. It would take Auburn to 8-0, a team that has been rolling right now.
Yeah, I think they've lost to them in New Orleans, in Raleigh, in Durham, and in Maui.
The last loss was definitely in Maui.
Yeah. So Auburn is there tonight. Great matchup. The first one is Alabama and North Carolina. Wrightsell is officially out for the season with that Achilles injury. Nate Oates made that the case yesterday. Now, and I tweeted this yesterday, for all of us who said, does Alabama have too much depth? Well, you can't have too much depth, obviously. And now the importance of Aiden Holloway being at Alabama is even bigger with Wrightsell on the bench. Here's Nate Oates.
Being shorthanded in the guard rotation, what have you seen from Aiden, and just how much more of a jump is he going to have to take to help you guys, maybe if he gets some extended minutes?
He's been good. He's not shooting it quite as well as we'd seen him shoot it in practice. And again, I think some of that goes into we got to space the floor better. We got to get guys to move the ball and get better shots. But he's been playing pretty well. I thought his defense has really improved. He hasn't been a big issue with the turnovers. He's actually taken care of it pretty well himself. So with Wrightsell being out and as many minutes as Wrightsell was playing, he's going to definitely be getting more minutes. Provided he plays well in his minutes, guards and takes care of the ball, and the shot making will come as long as we keep moving the ball and spacing it well.
Yeah, more minutes for LeBaron Philon as well. We'll see how they play tonight. One note. And I knew about this yesterday, and it was confirmed when they got to the hotel last night. Duke and North Carolina, very close to each other. Alabama and Auburn, same team hotel.
Oh, how about that?
Different floors.
Fight in the hall.
Wow.
Different floors, but Auburn and Alabama sharing the same hotel. Now, it is often the hotel that visiting teams use when they go play at Duke and North Carolina. So it just happens. Both have home games. Both have teams from our state in there tonight for those games.
I would say Nate and Bruce get a drink, but Nate doesn't drink, right?
He drinks the heck out of that water.
He does.
Yeah. Bruce may do this. take a little sip of whatever Bruce drinks, and Nate would guzzle it like Brown's doing to that water over there. Tom Luginbill on the other side to talk recruiting, National Signing Day as it opens up the early period today. Of course, it should open up today because it's only the reaction to the college football playoff rankings and conference championship games, so why not stuff something else into today? So make it the National Signing Day. We'll talk to Lugs next. The show brought to you by the Pants Store. Nothing better under the tree for the Alabama and Auburn fan than the Pants Store. PantsStore.com. Birmingham, Huntsville, Tuscaloosa, Auburn, and Leeds, your game day headquarters. Sweatshirts, polos, hats, quarter zips from Gentile, Antigua, Cutter and Buck, Horn Legend, and all the great women's fashion as well. Free alterations, free gift wrapping. PantsStore.com. Nothing says Roll Tide and War Eagle like the Pants Store.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trustful. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations. Bryant Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Hey, this is Matt Roth, the franchisee of Walk On Sports Bistro in Birmingham. With the kickoff of football season, come visit us at one of our 3 locations, Stadium Trace, Greystone, or Trustville. Come enjoy our scratch kitchen menu while watching one of our 80 TVs. Whether you're looking for a pre- or post-game celebration, game day, or date night, we've got you covered. It's all about the win at Walk On Sports Bistro. Walk On, where everybody needs a little playing time.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price.
You guys know how
Academy,
I feel about my fashion.
have fun out there.
However, did you know that I care about your fashion choices? Cargo shorts are out, flip-flops are only appropriate on the boat, and please throw away that stained t-shirt from college. You may be thinking, EG, that's all I own. What do I do? Here's what you do. Go to nextround.store and fill your cart with a wardrobe that is approved by me. Stock up on logo t-shirts, hoodies for football season, and hats for every day of the week. Trust me on this one and head over to nextround.store to get stocked up for this season.
You could win a Cadillac CT5 or your share of $25,000 in free play and cash at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. The more you visit, the more chances you have to win. Play the latest, most exciting games around with fun bonuses and big jackpots. You can be a winner too. Come win your share during the Cadillac CT5 and $25,000 giveaway at Birmingham Racecourse Casino. Drawings April 5th and 6th. Located off I-459, exit 31, Derby Parkway. Must be 21 or older, must be present to win.
Start your day online with our website, nextroundlive.com, for the latest videos, podcasts, and college football stories. It's also a great way to stream the show or shop in the Next Round store. Stay connected by visiting nextroundlive.com.
Back with you on the next round. National Signing Day happening as we speak. Depending on which service you look at, Texas and Georgia and Ohio State and Alabama and Auburn, sort of the consensus of the top 5 jumble around who will make a push, who won't make a push. We've got Flipmas happening in some places. and some things happening that we knew were going to happen. Let's talk to our man Tom Luginbill about it.
He is ESPN's Tom Luginbill. You see him talking college football and recruiting. He is always kind with his time with us. You also see him on Monday Morning Live during the football season with the great Jim Dunaway. What is up, Luke? How are you?
Good morning, guys. It's good to actually see all three of you at once.
I know. It's good to have you back on. I would go through and say, man, this feels like a critical signing day for all these teams, but I don't know how critical it really is anymore. It's still got to mean something. Some of these guys do actually contribute and stick with the school for 3 or 4 years.
Well, you would like for 60% plus of them to do that. We're beyond the stacking class upon class upon class of 20 to 25, upwards of maybe 28 players in every class, and then having that expectation that they're going to be there for 3, 4, 5 years. You're going to have redshirted developmental guys that are going to be program guys, and they're the foundational pillars. Where we land right now is in a spot where they might be signing a financial aid agreement, but all that really is signing another level of a verbal agreement, because if things don't work out, whether it's whatever they were promised in NIL, a coaching change, they're not playing right away, poof, they could be gone. And don't be surprised with each and every one of these classes. I've been telling people this last week, don't fall in love with anybody, because the chances that those guys are going to be playing for you is getting slimmer and slimmer and slimmer with every year we continue to go forward with no regulation in the transfer portal.
Okay, at this point, though, Luke's most surprising SEC team to the good and most surprising SEC team to the bad?
To the good, it would be the Florida Gators. I don't think there's any question about that. They flipped 11 players in the last 15 days as I think, a direct result of performance on the field. And when you have some of the moments that they've had, particularly late, where you got a lot of guys on the sideline, people are figuring out, wait a minute, these guys are going to be just fine. I think this thing's going to go the way that it should go, so on and so forth. And I'm looking right here. I would probably say I'm a little surprised that we're in a position where South Carolina, with the success that they have not bumped themselves up into the top 15. Doesn't mean they enter the day at number 23 for us. That can change by the end of the day. But the way that they have closed, very similar to Florida. I think Jordan Gidron is a really good player. DeMarcus Leach, the safety, is fantastic on defense. We know what they've built up front on both sides of the football, and they've got a quarterback. So the future is bright. I'm interested to see what the cycle then will look like for them come December 9th and beyond. Because while we're sitting here talking about signing day, the transfer portal for some programs is going to be way more important than today is.
That includes Kobe Prentice, who is a role player for Alabama, who's in the portal according to reports. Now, it doesn't officially open to December 9th. And then I guess he has a decision to make like Isaiah Bond did last year. Yeah. Is he going to go play in the playoffs, or is he going to go ahead and go to his next destination? So you got to keep an eye on people like that. Do you make your decisions on do I, at the last moment, do I go portal quarterback, or do I sign a kid who's got to develop? Is that the kind of decisions you're making on a coaching staff today? Do I go high school guy who I may or may not have after he develops under me, or do I go find a portal guy for a year or two? How important is it to have multiple years out of the portal?
Well, I think it's significant. I think you'd like to have 3+ if you can. I don't think a bunch of one and dones does you anything from a stability and consistency and continuity standpoint. Listen, what ends up happening, and I'm going to actually use Curt Cignetti here as a great example. Everybody, there's going to be quarterbacks each and every year that will jump into the transfer portal that were highly, highly coveted out of high school, but haven't really played yet, right? So you're looking at that player and you're saying, okay, well, does that player do anything more for me than this high school player that I really like? I'd have to develop both of them. But then there's somebody like a Curtis Rourke at Indiana who had been a 3-year starter, unbelievably productive, maybe not the high-profile name, but you're looking at that guy, and he's way more intriguing than maybe the young guy is, especially if you need help right now. A guy that comes to mind just in the last 48 hours in that same regard is Connor Wigman at Texas A&M, who I think is 9-4 as a starter, has played well. He's had an injury history, but there's a lot of sample size of production there that's going to make him really, really attractive. So I think you're weighing a high-profile guy from another class that's unhappy, decides to leave, but he hasn't played yet, versus somebody that maybe didn't have that same type of accolade coming out and has developed through performance, and that guy becomes most attractive of all of them.
ESPN's Tom Luginbill on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. Alabama and Auburn both have a quarterback signee in this class. Keelan Russell from Texas for Alabama, Deuce Knight from Mississippi for Auburn. If needed, Alabama's got Ty Simpson. Auburn likely going to be active in the portal. But if needed, do you see either one of those as a day one guy? Could they be a day one starter?
I see both of them as having the physical attributes to make the adaptation without having a steep learning curve. Now, I say that because that answer is almost entirely revolving around physical ability, talent, arm strength, accuracy, the ability to run, all of those sorts of things. What you don't know yet until you play the guy is how does he adapt in all of the other areas, the aptitude, the mental side of it, the mental toughness, the competitive temperament. What happens if he starts getting banged around? Things aren't going good. How do you preserve his confidence? There are all of these other variables. I mean, you look at Dylan Raiola last year. Everybody was so excited about Dylan Raiola. Dylan Raiola is talented, but it's a big jump at the quarterback position. What I think is probably most likely is you have a little more depth in the quarterback room at Alabama right now, which gives you a little more room to work with Keelan Russell, who I think is very reminiscent to a right-handed Michael Penix. And if you're Auburn, you've got to be looking at Deuce Knight to push immediately. And by the way, that just came across the wire, so that's not a commitment. That's a sign now.
Mm-hmm.
And that they need him to improve that room. And if that means he and Walker White are banging out and battling and they're getting after it, and that improves the room, great, because I think we all know that's what has to happen for them. And listen, they've got a really strong class. I think barring something odd, both Alabama and Auburn are going to sign top 5 classes. But the quarterback position, to your point, is so critical.
Yeah, so both Russell and Knight have officially signed at Alabama and Auburn now. So the quarterbacks in this class are safely dotted, lined, and the ink is dried. I wanted to ask you before we move on and talk about the game itself in college football, just what you were just talking about, the Auburn and Alabama coaching staffs, general managers. What has been your impression of what Hugh is doing, and then what Kalen DeBoer has been able to do in a shorter period of time as he jumped in at the job in Tuscaloosa? Take Auburn first, and then tell me about Alabama.
Well, I think where Auburn's done a really nice job is, number one, they've addressed the quarterback position, but they're continuing to make adds along the offensive and defensive front. Jared Smith, our 4th-ranked defensive end, 2nd-ranked highest player in that class. They have a top 3 corner in Blake Woodby. All of the areas that we talk about as premium positions, pass rusher, corner, offensive line, quarterback, that is where Auburn has done, I think, a really good job of continuing to upgrade the roster. For Alabama guys, for all of the criticism of how the season has gone and 9-3 and at times haven't looked good and things of that nature, well, I'll tell you one thing that has not changed is the caliber of player that's been committed to this class is no different than what's happened under Nick Saban's leadership, right? The difference now is, and Nick Saban got out right on the verge of this, is you sign all these guys and you're super excited about them and you've got this wealth of talent on paper. How do you keep them all happy? How do you keep them all in the house? But for you got the number 1 ranked dual threat quarterback. We talked about him and Keelan Russell, a top 5 offensive tackle in Ty Haywood, a top 4, top 2, top 5, outside linebacker, corner, running back, and athlete. I mean, that's just at the top third of their class.
Wow.
And those are national numbers. So that has not dipped in any way, shape, or form, which is a real positive. And as I mentioned, now you got to come through in terms of developing players. You got to come through with what was promised. You have to be able to get guys engaged early so that you can try to build some foundation. I think that's the biggest challenge right now with coaches. It's such a transactional sport that, having to turn over 30, 40, 45 players in a calendar year, all of a sudden is the norm instead of the exception.
I wanted to ask you about Lincoln Riley because, year 3 was a disaster as far as wins and losses. I personally thought they were a better team overall. Just some really disappointing fourth-quarter losses. With all that said, they lost to Jerome Miles, who is now looks like he's going to Texas A&M. And the decommits have been just, they're every other day, it seems like, for Lincoln Riley. What do you attribute this to? Is there a rumor out there he's not going to be back? What's going on right now in Los Angeles?
I think prospects are very wary of instability and not quite knowing from a leadership standpoint, given how the last 3 years has gone, how much longer this could continue to go, particularly in the fall of 25, if things don't go well. That scares kids. And the reality is it's probably being used against them in recruiting and against Lincoln Riley from a negative recruiting tactic of why would you go all the way out there, especially if you're not a West Coast kid, but why would you go all the way out there and, they're not, that staff may not even be there next year. And that stuff's very, very real. We know they have resources. We know they have money. What Lincoln Riley and that program have not been able to do, and I agree with you, Lance, I thought they improved this year on defense in particular, weren't anywhere near the offensive football team they thought they were going to be. But they have not been able to go out and get the Dylan Stewarts of the world, right? They haven't been able to go out and get these difference makers up front on either side of the ball that could elevate the program beyond what all of their skill says that they are. And I will still maintain, and this goes all the way back to Oklahoma, it was the same storyline. You could get through it and you could navigate the Big 12, but when you played anybody that was any good up front in the college football playoff, you lost. And what were the common denominators of all those teams? Clemson, Alabama, right? It's the same thing. We're better than you up front. And unless that changes, it's going to be more of the same for SC.
Okay, so what's going to happen? College football rankings, we started the show with it. Everybody was waiting to see Alabama, Miami, Ole Miss, South Carolina, how that lined up. Alabama obviously in front of those teams. Now it looks like it comes down to the ACC championship game. SMU wins, Alabama's in. If Clemson wins, it becomes a debate between SMU and Alabama. Where are you on that debate, and how do you think it falls out here?
I'm on the SMU side of that thing. I think winning 11 games is really, really important. And I think with all of this talk that everybody's been bantering back and forth about, whether it's smart to play in a conference championship game, does that hurt you? Does that help you? And the resounding answer to that from everybody is we're not going to hold that against you. Okay, then let's not hold it against anybody. Now, I do think game control and how a game could be played could play a role in that. I mean, if SMU goes out and lays an egg against Clemson and loses by 27 points, that's a different conversation. They have not shown a penchant for doing that. I think the one thing about SMU and all of this is they're one of the 3 teams that have won 9 games versus Power 4 opponents, and they have not gone out and looked bad. Like, they are a very clean, efficient football team that can run the football and stop the run, and they've had outstanding quarterback play. For me, I think that my takeaway from the evening was more about just the lack of consistency of the results of games. You have a Georgia team that goes and loses on the road to Ole Miss and they drop 9 spots. Okay, that's a ranked Ole Miss team. But Ohio State loses at home to a 6-5 team with a walk-on quarterback and drops 4. Like, how do you quantify that? And so the consistency for me in terms of how they're valuing losses and where they're placing people is a little bit of a head scratcher right now. I really don't have an issue with Alabama being in the college football playoff if they get in. I think the issue that most people have, and I can see this, is that the Oklahoma loss is a bad, bad loss. And I think what the committee said last night, and Ward Manuel said it right out loud, is we valued the wins and the ranked wins over Alabama over Miami, despite Miami's losses being to, on the road, a pretty darn good Georgia Tech team and then a 9-3 team on the road at Syracuse. So the wins matter more for them. And I was also intrigued at how Ward Manuel last night flat out came out and confirmed, and Reese Davis, he pressed him on it. So are you saying that if you don't play this weekend, you are not changing the rankings? Well, that's the best news Alabama could hear.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, they still need help, but they still need help, but they know they're not going to fall out of the blue, right?
They know they're not going to fall, right?
That's right.
Then it does, and I talk about the consistency of where you drop somebody. In the case of South Carolina, do I think they're probably playing the best football right now? What, they've beaten 3 top 25 teams in the last 6 weeks. The quarterback's a nightmare. They can play defense. The problem is they have the head-to-head, and they've lost it to both Ole Miss and Alabama. And you can't overcome that.
Hey, does South Carolina have the money to keep him? because I think he is going to be the next superstar. We all agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, they might have to keep him for Virginia Tech at some point here in the near future. Who knows, right? Listen, I thought when that hire was made, it was a bit of a finance hire, meaning it was a bit of a risk, but it was cost effective, and it works. And if it works out, it looks fantastic, and that's exactly how it has played out. I do think that they've got enough money to be competitive, because they're showing very publicly that they want to be competitive and are willing to be competitive in the NIL market with the best freshman player on their team. So I think that's an encouraging sign if you're talking about retaining a coach.
Yeah. He was talking about Lenore Sellers. You're talking about Shane Beamer.
Oh, I'm talking about Shane Beamer.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought so too.
No, I was talking about, Shane Beamer did a great job this year. I put more stock into Lenore Sellers moving forward. Yeah. I'm just saying, how much is this kid worth in the portal? And do you think, South Carolina, they've got SEC money, but they ain't got money that some of these other teams have got.
Well, and remember when they started to talk about Dylan Stewart, right? That's going to take a big chunk of the money. So can you afford both of them? And then you're going to have to make a decision and figure it out. I think that he would be the most highly coveted player in the transfer portal, regardless of position, and deservedly so. I would hope that, and I hope this for all kids, because maybe it's just the old school guy in me, but I would hope that there would be a want to stay at South Carolina. You signed there for a reason. They've invested in you. They've believed in you. They've developed you. You've gotten better and better and better, improved incrementally as a passer this year. I would hope on his side of things that he would want to be a South Carolina Gamecock and then come to an agreement that benefits both the institution and the kid.
All right, he's ESPN's Tom Luginbill at Tom Luginbill on social media. Thank you for the time on signing day, Lugs. Much appreciated. Have a great remainder of your week, my friend.
I will. Have a great week, guys. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, all that good stuff.
Yep, all that good stuff. See you, buddy. Thank you. Lugs with us, apparently for the final time of the year.
Apparently.
The Johnston Harvey.
We didn't even talk any entertainment with Lugs.
Show being brought to you in part by our friends at Odie's.
Odie's Tavern, it's Wednesday night. That means we will be at the original location, Crestline. Brown, I think you're out tonight,
I am
right?
out tonight.
Abby Jo will be there tonight. Will Haver, myself, looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. Get there a little early. They'll have the Alabama-North Carolina game on. We will go live after that, so 8:15, 8:30-ish. But get there, watch that game, enjoy some of the great food from Rodney Davis, your award-winning wings, delicious burgers, great sandwiches, ice-cold beer buckets full of the Bud Light. 2 locations, the one we're at tonight, the newest location in Edgewood, Birmingham Institution. It's Odie's Tavern.
And our friends at Way to Wellness, planforme.com is the website. If you're wanting to start thinking about 2025 and some weight loss, consider our friends at Way to Wellness, the website at planforme.com. They've got the injection therapy there. They help you with your weight loss, supervised by Leslie and her board-certified team. Every plan is different. No cookie-cutter plan. Maybe injection therapy, maybe meal replacement, maybe a little of both will help you get your weight loss gains or control some blood pressure and cholesterol numbers. Find out with a free evaluation. Get details at planforme.com. No contracts and no sign-up fees. So you can stop anytime if you don't like the process, but I think you'll love it. If you're looking to lose weight, injection therapy, and so much more, Way to Wellness at planforme.com. It's your journey to healthy living. All right, on the recruiting front, 4-star running back Anthony Turbo Rogers, a one-time Alabama commitment, has committed to Ohio State. God's plan, he tells Hayes Fawcett of On 3 Sports. I never know these flips. We don't keep up with recruiting on a day-in and day-out basis. How many of them are surprising flips today? Most of them, I believe, have already been worked into the sauce from the past few days. But that's one that at one point was an Alabama guy who I think in recent days had made word out that he was flipping to Ohio State.
The insiders, it's amazing how they believe what these 17 and 18-year-olds say. Sadly, I don't trust 99% of humanity. And to believe what a 17-year-old's going to say when his uncle behind the scenes in the 11th hour can make another deal with a team.
Yeah, I don't know how it all gets sorted out and how you know who to believe and who not to believe, because even the coaches sometimes are spinning a narrative to these guys. These guys are cover recruiting on the day-to-day.
Yeah, and what do you guys think the percentage of people, back to something Luginbill, to extract that a little bit, what he said, that it's kind of sad, like you committed to this program because, It used to be you loved the program. What is the percentage now? Like when we used to have National Recruiting Day, I would say it was more than half really committed to a school because, maybe they grew up a fan or they became a fan over the recruiting process. Now it really seems like a business decision.
I would say it's 1/5. And I will tell you the thing that has surprised me most, and it's changed now, but the thing that surprised me most about what Nick Saban did when he was in Tuscaloosa, he brought guys from all over the country. And I always felt like they were coming to play for Nick Saban instead of Alabama. And I still believe that was probably the case. They were coming to play for Nick Saban, the process to get to the NFL. But the love those guys have of being part of the Alabama legacy now, their time there when they get to the NFL, that's impressed me a lot because I always thought they were mercenaries coming in to play for Nick Saban and just wearing the Alabama uniform. But you watch Mark Ingram and you see all these guys, Bryce Young, all the guys in the NFL, and they're proud to be Alabama alums. And that was impressive to me that Nick Saban, as they came in through the NFL shop there to go to the NFL, that he also instilled a love for the Alabama program in them.
Yeah, I do think that is going to unfortunately be lost over the next couple of years with guys like Dylan Gabriel that has played at 3 schools. Bo Nix, where is that allegiance? You assume, it's kind of to both. I don't know about you guys. I was out trying to find a job out of college. I didn't have people coming after me, but you guys have probably read or seen The Firm, John Grisham.
Yeah, great movie.
Beginning of the book, beginning of the movie, he's getting recruited by all these different law firms, and they're just throwing things at him left and right, and it really comes down to who was the highest offer and what could give him the most, and I think that's what it comes down for these kids now.
It was a mistake on his part.
It was a mistake.
Yeah.
For some of these kids, it might be a mistake.
All right, so signing day continues today, and by the way, if you're wondering, they're actually signing because remember they got rid of the letter of intent, so everyone is actually signing today a financial aid agreement, which is actually more binding than the LOI, the letter of intent. This is actually a financial aid agreement you're signing today. So when you are signed with a school, you can't be tampered with at that point. There are major violations that come with being tampered at that point. The LOI was one thing, but the financial aid agreement can actually get to criminal at some point.
This locks you in until the transfer portal opens in April, right?
I'm
not joking. I'm serious.
Yeah,
That's
it
what
locks
this
you
does.
in. When the portal opens on the 9th, I don't know if this ties them to that, but
but definitely in April.
But what this is a placeholder until likely after July 1st, when this group of athletes will become the first to sign contracts with a school and part of a revenue sharing. So this is sort of a historic day that it's not letters of intent, which was less in stone than what they're actually signing today, which is a financial aid agreement. So they're basically enrolling in school today with their financial aid agreements there. Just a little housekeeping there as we get ready for tampering season.
And back in the day, these kids, for the most part, had to reach out to counselors and figure out what their schedules were going to be. Do you think any of these guys do any of that now?
No.
If I'm going to sign with you, I'm not doing any of it. I might take an online class here and there.
You get me in the easy classes.
Yeah.
Josh Pate is in our next segment. Hemphill brings you the lock of the day. Lanceslock.com, the ACC SEC Challenge continues with 2 huge basketball games in our state tonight playing up at North Carolina and Duke. Tell us about Lance's Lock and Hemphill.
Yeah, we're smoking hoops right now. 8-3, coming off an 8-3 yesterday. 11 plays for you. We've got more college basketball, including the Auburn-Duke game. That is up and available right now at lanceslock.com. You get a free play every single day, $100 gets you absolutely everything, NBA, NFL, college football, college basketball. And it's always brought to you by our friends at Hemphill Services. Trust the name Birmingham has trusted since 1954 for all of your plumbing, heating, and cooling issues. Call Adam, Chad, Andrew, the guys there. Hard to stop a train. They're coming out to the house later today to do, a couple of different things. But call them today. Tell them the next round sent you. For more information, hemphillservices.com.
And DanielMooreArt.com gives you the legend, a tribute to Coach Nick Saban in his 6 national championship seasons he had while he was in Tuscaloosa. You can pick up that order right now at DanielMooreArt.com. Or go grab the 2025 calendar, which includes some Saban artwork and other great works from Daniel A. Moore. Coupon code TNR20 gets you coupon code TNR gets you 20% off. That's at DanielMooreArt.com. DanielMooreArt.com. The great Josh Pate on the other side.
Call the next round now at 205-734-0923.
Buying that perfect home is one of the most important financial decisions you'll ever make, so it's crucial that you have the right partner to help you through the process. Hi, I'm Lisa Zeig, Vice President Mortgage Loan Officer for Bryant Bank, and I'm here to tell you that we are that partner, making it easy to buy with confidence. We offer a variety of mortgage products to fit your unique home buying situation. That kind of hassle-free approach might not be what you'd expect from a bank, but it's exactly what you can expect from us. Give me a call today or visit one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama and let me show you what banking beyond expectation is all about.
Hey, Lance Taylor from the Next Round to tell you about one of our favorite places for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That is Hamburger Heaven since 1982. Hamburger Heaven has been serving Birmingham's best hamburgers, cheeseburgers, French fries, hand-spun milkshakes, and sandwiches made fresh to order. All of their ingredients are fresh and prepared daily. This includes their beef, always fresh, never frozen, hand-pattied each and every day. For breakfast, lunch, or dinner, visit any of the 4 locations, Highway 280, Irondale, Gardendale, and Homewood.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Just because you've quit going to the gym, it doesn't mean that you have to quit gym altogether. Dunaway, that is. With our Next Round podcasts open 24/7, 365, you can access gym anytime you'd like. While you may have done away with your treadmill routine, our version of Dunaway is standing by ready to get you back to your absolute best. Find all that lovely Jimmy D-led content on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and in the podcast section of nextroundlive.com. This message is sponsored by Jimmy Crypto Inc. and Jimmy Crypto for President.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price.
There's nothing worse
Academy.
than waking up to
Have
a
fun
plumbing
out there.
problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090. The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well done service.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
All right, let's get right to the man, Josh Pate here. As Brownie, you toss it to him, I'll echo what I said to start the show. I am shocked. The ACC is still shocked that this continues to happen to them.
Are you shocked that Dunaway is shocked the ACC is shocked, Josh Pate, of the Josh Pate College Football Show, which is one of the greatest shows out there?
I stay shocked so I don't have to get shocked. That's how Meemaw taught me to live my life. And I will say that amnesia is one of the chronic diseases that plagues college football fandom because everyone forgets everything that they've learned about the sport and the committee and everything else every spring. And then summer breeds hope, and then fall breeds optimism, and then November, which is supposed to be the time of thanks, breeds crushing disappointment, and then December is just a dark, dark time for everyone, unless, of course, you were born with that SEC patch on your chest, at which point you're just free. You can lose however many games you want to. I am being told that's how the sport works. Have I gotten any of this wrong?
I don't think so. Look, and if Alabama would have just beaten Oklahoma, there wouldn't be this argument. But look, all these teams have got flaws. We said that when we came on today. Whether it's South Carolina, Ole Miss, Miami, Alabama, even SMU, if they were to lose this game against Clemson. We're all in agreement. We kind of lean Clemson's going to win this game because what would it be without chaos going into Sunday? If Clemson does win this game, we just had Tom Luginbill on, a guy that I know you respect. He said he believes SMU with 11 wins is going to get in. Dunaway thinks SMU will get in. I actually think Alabama will get in. Brown thinks Alabama will get in. What do you think?
Close game? Do you think it matters?
Yeah,
I
do. I mean, Georgia Tech, I brought this up. If you had that kind of outcome and Clemson wins, SMU is getting in.
Okay, define a close game. Give me a point spread.
10.5 was where I was going to go.
Single digits. I would say single digits versus double digits.
That would be the most college football thing ever. They were like, God, if they'd lost by 9, we'd have them in there. But it was a 10-point loss, so y'all put Alabama in there. I mean, that'd be the most college football
And by the way,
ever.
Dabo will not kick an extra field goal or punch it in. He'll take a knee because he wants that second ACC in, and he doesn't want to see Alabama.
Yeah. So I'm on TikTok, and all the young kids like Dunaway have an account over there, and he did a really, really good job this morning, I think, of explaining how insane the entire methodology is. Like, for example, I assume you've already talked about this morning. Louisville could be 24th or 25th, but if they're 26th or 27th, they don't count as another ranked win for SMU.
Exactly.
It can literally be the deciding data point. You notice a bunch of folks, by the way, who cannot spell arithmetic, myself included, all of a sudden start throwing around terms like data points this time of year, like we have any idea what we're talking about. So I am slightly of the opinion that if SMU loses, they're going to put Alabama in. Where I fall is on the other side. I think SMU should be in because I don't believe in the punishment for the conference title thing if you're ahead of someone. Here's going to be my problem. It's really good for my business if Alabama's in, so I don't have a problem about it. I'm close with the folks in the program. If they make it in, congratulations. If it were just two generic teams, the ethical side of it bothers me because here's the thing. If SMU loses to Clemson and they drop them out, they're not going to come on air and say, we dropped them out because they lost the conference title game. They're going to drop them, and then they're going to say, we dropped them because their resume doesn't compare to Alabama. They've got fewer ranked wins, their strength of schedule, their quality record, that. But you know all that now. So the only thing that could change comparing those two teams between now and Sunday is they lose a conference title game. So a lot of what they're talking about should already be baked into the cake. If you already had SMU behind Bama, I wouldn't have a problem with it, but you got them ahead of them. Their only crime is they're good enough to play in the conference title game. And so to drop them behind Alabama if they lose that one, from a principled standpoint, it would bother me.
Yeah. Barring a blowout, I don't think that happens. I think SMU stays in there because of everything you said. I think they'll be evaluated as a one-loss, not a two-loss team. That's my opinion. Also, Taylor Corn, very impressed that I was able to do the TikTok green screen without calling her 3 times this morning.
It was unbelievable. You had the points going on. You didn't even point going on.
Yes.
You're so young, I'm surprised you're even allowed to drive at this point.
All in 5 takes. It was amazing.
It's like Ryan Williams. Everyone's like, y'all know Dunaway's only 17, right?
That's right. That's right. So when you get to the playoffs, the home field advantage is going to be interesting as well. How do you think the committee will approach that? Will it be a lot like we saw last night, or will there be some juggling that goes on to divide this up? Because I do think a lot of America wants to see the Southern teams go play in Big Ten weather.
I mean, do you realize what a referendum for life that's going to be? We have had people forever talk about how Southern teams would play in cold weather.
Yes.
And you're going to have probably 1 or 2 examples of it that will either completely reinforce or completely crumble these narratives that have existed for 50 years. I think they will finagle that. They can say all they want to, but if they don't show you the process, you have no recourse. You have no way of knowing how it happened, which, by the way, is why I've always advocated for that in process to have to play out entirely public.
Yes.
Like entirely in view of the public. It's not a Senate Intel committee. You're not dealing with classified information. You're dealing with whether SMU is better than Alabama. It's the entertainment business to begin with. But because they keep it behind closed doors, you don't really know the process. You don't know if they moved Penn State to where they don't play a Big Ten team in round one. You don't know if they switched Ohio State and Tennessee, where Tennessee has to go on the road and play in cold weather. I think they will. I don't think we'll have any proof they did, but I do agree with you. I think they will.
Josh Pate is with us. Josh Pate College Football Show does it 3 times a week. You can follow him at Josh Pate CFB. That's where you follow him on Twitter. And also go to his YouTube page, Josh Pate College Football Show YouTube page, and make sure you subscribe and set your alerts like you do for us and give him a thumbs up on all he does. He's on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. See if you can follow me here. Texas loses to Georgia. Texas is currently 2. They lose to Georgia. Penn State loses to Oregon. Notre Dame is already not in the top 4. Who do you think the 5 seed out of that group is? So if Texas has lost to Georgia, Penn State has lost to Oregon, and then factor in Notre Dame, that's 2, 3, and 4. Who do you think ends up the 5? Because
Texas.
Notre Dame doesn't take a loss in that scenario, which we've seen. Ward Manuel has already told us how valuable that is, right? But Texas and Penn State take on a loss. We don't know if it's a real loss because it's a conference championship game loss. Who do you think the 5 seed is?
Who's 2 right now? Texas?
Texas 2, Penn State 3, Notre Dame 4.
Would probably depend on how competitive the games were. If they're comparable, I think they may put Penn State there because I think they may knock Texas for strength of schedule purposes or perp-I, which is the plural of purpose. I'm going to be very aggravated if Notre Dame is allowed to exist above those teams. But here's the real conundrum. All right, so what if that doesn't happen in a vacuum? What if those 2 teams lose and they don't fall past Notre Dame, but SMU loses and does fall past Alabama?
Yeah.
You will have the most glaring argument to date of brand bias and whatnot. And everyone knows it exists. I don't even necessarily have a problem that it exists for the record. But
I'll be shocked that they're shocked.
Yeah, like that would be one where Ward Manuel, instead of looking like this when he answers Reese Davis, he would look like this when he answers Reese Davis. If you know what I mean. Yeah. So you got to be careful now. We can't be setting precedent.
If you're just guessing, not as difficult as the question Brown asked. But if Alabama does get in, is it South Bend? Is it State College? Or is it maybe Autzen if Oregon was to lose to Penn State?
Ooh, man, that 3rd one. Either way, that's a nice little travel. I think it's Notre Dame. I think it's Notre Dame. So what we're talking about 11-6, right?
Yeah, that would be. Yeah, Alabama looks like they're locked into the 11 if they're in. Again, Ward Manuel did not say that last night. A lot of people misunderstood him.
They're not moving down, though, Brown.
They are not moving down. If they are in, they are going to be the 11. Yes.
Yeah. I'd lean South Bend right now because I don't think that Notre Dame's going to jump up above either one of those losers. However, if both of them lose, if Texas and Penn State both lose, I think they're 5-6 in either order. So. Man, I guess that draws back to Brown's 19-part question that I fumbled my way through. That could be a Texas hosting Alabama. Like, there's a world where that happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which there's almost design in this show. For the first time, I'm seeing design. Because that goes back to Dunaway's question of, do you think they'll finagle it where you don't have conference-on-conference matchups in round 1?
By the way, nothing is prepared.
Yeah, I mean, this is
our first. We don't have our first 15 plays scripted.
That's right. I think Reese sometimes is like trying to trip up Ward Manuel. We're not trying to trip you up. It's completely by accident.
Did you hear him last night? Ward gets like 3 sentences into a response, and Reese says, "Yeah, but that's not the way it'd be."
I know.
You got the delay where you're embarrassed because you speak 5 more words before it even comes through your earpiece, and then you say, "What? Say that again?" And then there's awkward, pregnant silence, and it's just. Someone needs to get Ward Manuel up to Bristol so we can do this in person, because otherwise it devolves very quickly.
Yeah. I guess they don't like the image of them just doing the debate at ESPN's headquarters, but wouldn't it make far more sense? That's who owns this thing.
Yeah.
Wait till the public finds out that Ward Manuel's just in the other room.
I know it. He's pretending to be on delay.
They really need cue cards like the old Tonight Show. They're back there going.
What's Reese asking? I don't know what he's asking.
Reese, stick to the script.
Pate, you're going to be at the Big 12 championship game. We haven't. I mean, that's like the most forgotten, though it is a win to get in. Is why you're going to Dallas.
Yeah, it's a playing game. That's the only way either one of those teams gets in. I think you're looking at two of the stories of the year in college football there. Matt Campbell has Iowa State back, and then Kenny Dillingham. Kenny Dillingham, I know you guys probably follow this, but like if you're maybe a Southern football fan and you haven't paid much attention to Arizona State, the program was in shambles. Herm Edwards basically put it on cruise control and drove it towards the tornado, like at the end of Twister. And then they threw Kenny Dillingham in the driver's seat because he's from there. So, I mean, Kenny will be fine going down with the ship. And then Kenny Dillingham figures out, wait, the steering wheel works. And he just swerves at the last minute. And now they're winning. And I told him to his face, you have the ignorance of competition about you. You don't know you're not supposed to be winning. And he's like, thank you. But I mean it. Like, they're supposed to be losing right now. And they're playing for a conference title. They got one of the best tailbacks in the country. Jaden Rashada, remember, the quarterback there left via the portal in the spring, and everyone freaked out and said, oh, Arizona State's screwed. And Kenny Dillingham's like, no, he was getting beat out for the job. The Sam Levitt kid beat him out for the job. Here's Sam Levitt, all these months later, leading his team into a conference title. I think it's going to be it may be the most entertaining game on Conference Championship Saturday. It's the first game. It's in Dallas, and I'm looking forward to it, man. I've never been to the Big 12 title game before.
I know the answer is going to be all, but if I asked you what was the most surprising program in college football this year, was it Arizona State, was it Indiana, or was it Florida State?
So, yeah, on the negative side, nothing could have prepared me for what Florida State wasn't. That's like a league of its own. I think I'd throw Colorado in this conversation as well. Colorado really, I thought they would have trouble handling the Big 12. I thought the Big 12 was full of a bunch of teams that are not star-studded, but because they're not, they totally understand who they are, rock-solid culture programs, and I thought it may shake Colorado, and it didn't. The opposite happened. So I think that's one. Absolutely think Arizona State is in contention for that. I got to go Florida State. If you give me the negative option on this, Florida State by a mile to me is the story. It's a surprise, if you will, of college football.
We're always going to give you the negative option.
Yeah, that's right.
Always. Yes, I can always count on it. That is so far off the radar. If I were to ask the three of you, if we were to do the show in August and we said, what's the worst case scenario for Florida State? We would have still been somewhere around bowl eligibility.
Yeah, 6-5.
And instead, look at that's unbelievable. They are where they are.
Yeah. I'd have gone 8-4.
Well, yeah, I mean, you would have said, it's an ACC schedule,
I did say 8-4 before the season, Pate. I know that's hard to believe. I had them 25th in our top 25 poll. I thought they were going to take steps back, but then I got nervous because, guys like you and Nick Saban were saying, hey, there's no chance.
Think about that. The week of their first game, Saban goes to their practice and says, that's one of the most talented teams I've ever seen, man. That team's going to win the ACC. They're going to go to the playoff, which just proves what we've always known. Nick Saban knows nothing about football.
Right.
We've always said that on this show.
Completely propped up at
CEO.
Yeah, that's right.
But so 8-4, that would have been radical. People would have called you a Knoll hater. People would have called you a nega-Knoll. That's what they call them, nega-Knolls. And instead, you vastly overrated them. So shame on you.
I know.
You're right.
You were a Posinol. Yeah, I don't know how you did that.
Mega Knoll.
All right. The Josh Pate College Football Show airs Sunday, Tuesday, and Thursday, normally at 7 o'clock Central. There are times he changes that. He'll be at the Big 12 Championship this week. So look for a lot on that coming up on Sunday. Pate, thank you very much for the time. It is always great talking with you.
I'll see you guys.
All right, buddy. Take care. Josh Pate with us. At Josh Pate CFB on social media is where you find them. He was on the JohnstonRVCenter.com hotline. You can see America in an RV from Johnston RV Center right now. Travel trailers as low as $145 a month. Also, don't forget fifth wheels, savings of $45,000 and more. They love the United States military the way we do on this show. We know we can never say thank you enough. It is not enough, right? But as a small show of gratitude, they give you a great discount there, whether you're active duty or a veteran, at Johnston RV Center, and a lifetime warranty from RV Warranty Forever on anything new or qualifying used. See more, johnstonrvcenter.com.
Our friends at Michelson want to remind you, hey, look, end of the year here, you're trying to figure out your benefits. Maybe LASIK is right for you. Do you or a family member need to make those benefit selections at work now? Do you know your FSA or flex spending can be used to help you see clearly without the hassle of glasses or contacts? Yes, LASIK at Michelson Laser Vision might be a great choice. Book your free LASIK consultation today with Dr. Mark Michelson, Dr. Jen Michelson. Find out if you can use your FSA or flex plan funds to get the freedom from the hassle of glasses or contact lenses. Make the phone call that I made more than 2 decades ago, 205-969-8100. Ask for Amy. Tell her the next round sent you. For more information, michelsonlaservision.com.
By the way, Auburn gets a commitment from defensive lineman Darian Smith, a flip from Tennessee to Auburn. 6'3", 265 D lineman from Baltimore, Maryland. Quote, I'm home, WDE, Wardham Eagle if you're new to that. As the Hayes Fawcett already has the poster ready to go on social media there. Pretty good. Brownie.
This was always going to be a concern about the college football playoff is, does it diminish the conference championship games? I think at the Big 12 it doesn't because it's a play-in. For Clemson it doesn't because it's a play-in for them. But then you've got the Big 10 and the SEC.
Yep. Mountain West is better because it's a play-in game.
Yeah,
I never would have worried about that.
Yeah. UNLV and Boise playing for a spot.
That game's going to be must-watch.
I know. There are factors other than just the college football playoff and what I'm about to tell you. So I accept that there are factors other than that. But what do you imagine is the get-in price for a ticket to the Big Ten championship game currently?
Ooh, we played that in Indianapolis.
That is in Indianapolis.
And it's Oregon, who's got to save their money to go to 2 or 3 games.
It's Penn State who is hungry.
And
Penn State.
But is just now finding out they're in the game, too.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't know until Saturday that they're playing the game.
Yeah, but I mean, that's not
are
that
good.
far.
They're just now finding out that it's in Indianapolis, too.
They've been once.
I'm going to say the get-in is $65.
Oh, it's got to be more than that. I would say $325.
$12.
Okay, well, we're both.
So I just went 8-4.
Way wrong.
Again, now there are other factors. Oregon, to your point, the travel distance. But if I'm an Oregon fan, this is my first year in the Big Ten.
Yeah, but
I got a chance to win a Big Ten championship. But again,
I'm going to be playing a quarterfinal game in the Rose Bowl on January 1st.
That's right.
You know what this shows you is conference championship games don't mean anything.
And that's what I was about to say.
Yeah,
and
don't
the
mean
other
anything.
factor is Penn State fans had not had a lot of time to plan on this. And to your point, if they win this, they're in the Rose Bowl.
That's right. I've got to go to the Rose Bowl.
That's right. I go to in just a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
So,
and if I go to this and we lose, I got to turn around in 2 weeks, buy a home ticket. That's not part of my season ticket package.
That's right. Yep.
This is the best ACC championship game I've seen since Clemson beat North Carolina when North Carolina had a chance to get into the college football playoff.
It's going to shock you. I think North Carolina would have been left out, but I understand what you're saying.
I think they would have gotten in, but I guarantee that ticket's nothing.
Oh, you think?
Yeah, I mean, SMU's not going to trouble. I mean,
I'm-
Clemson's used to getting into this game, although the stakes are really high because Clemson hasn't been to a college football playoff in a while now.
You're getting there is $45 at Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte.
Yeah, outside, first off.
Outside, I don't know what the temperature is going to be, but quite cold, I'm sure. Your get-in in Atlanta is about $120 right now.
SEC.
I mean, that has always been the concern is that
It's massive with smaller fan bases at the Big 12 championship game. Do you have a get in on that
I
one?
can pull that up real quick. I was
It's in
going back to
Arlington.
$118 for the SEC.
Okay, Big 12. I mean, Arizona State, do they have a fan base? Does Iowa State? I mean, I know it's a passionate but very small fan base.
$39, better than I would have thought.
$39
That's
there.
a huge stadium.
You're losing money on these conference
Yeah, I don't
championship
know
games
if
now.
I would pay.
If it wasn't for the TV partners.
I mean, if I lived at a condo next door, I don't know if I'd pay the $39 because I want to watch the other games.
That's right. Would I walk across the street to watch the Big 12 championship game or stay and watch everything else?
Can I bring something up on National Signing Day just real quick?
Yeah, real quick. Is Mountain West on campus?
Mountain West.
It's at Boise.
Is it at Boise?
Yeah.
You want that one?
So they're on blue turf there.
Oh, it'll be sold out.
Oh,
there.
it's packed. Yeah, it's playoffs.
Yeah.
I mean, they've never been to a college football playoff with as good as that program has been
This
for
is
years.
their worst team that's
It
ever had a
is.
chance to go to the
It
playoffs.
really is. I mean, they've got I would say they've got their best, as good as Kellen Moore was, the best player in the history of Boise State is playing right now in Ashton Genty. But it probably is the worst of the playoff teams that could have gotten there.
They were what were they, number 4 or 3 that year?
Yeah, no, they were 3 and 4. Yeah, for 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
With one loss one of those years and undefeated one of the years.
$44. That should get in at Albertson Stadium in Boise.
Outdoor, too, by the way.
Outdoor and miserable weather, I'm sure.
We brought this up a couple of weeks ago with Juju Lewis and the verbal to Colorado. He is now locked and loaded. It looks like Alabama held off Colorado for the offensive lineman Michael Carroll. It looks like he is locked and loaded to Alabama. But with Deion obviously putting more effort into recruiting than he ever has right now, I guess it shows us he's staying around next year.
That's what he has at least sold to the quarterback, right?
I mean, I don't know why he would go this far if you're not going to finish the deal, because there's no way these commits hang on if he's not there.
No way. Who's the big quarterback committee? Slipping my mind.
Juju Lewis.
Juju is. He doesn't go there if Deion's not there, and so I've lost out on going to USC or LSU or Auburn or Ohio State, wherever I was going to go, Georgia, and I went to Colorado, and then you're not there in 2 weeks. That would piss me off.
I'll use another movie reference: Jerry Maguire, when Cush's dad, Bo Bridges, played the role and gave the old handshake to Jerry Maguire and said, "My word's as strong as oak. I'm not going to sign anything." And I guarantee you, Juju Lewis, his dad, whoever, Juju, face-to-face with Deion, we've got to have your word here. And I do think Deion's word means something. So I fully expect Deion to be back.
And you've already pretty much done it, gotten through the coaching cycle in college without anything of note coming open that Deion would take. The NFL coaching cycle in one of two ways. If an NFL team wanted Deion, which I don't think will happen, or if a college coach jumps and it starts that college cycle, that's where you get concerned. But right now, you're through the college cycle.
Well,
I mean, the only thing that
here's what I could see.
Okay,
you guys, whoever gets Shedeur absolutely sucks, right?
Oh yeah, in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, whoever drafts him, they're going to be in a terrible situation.
Unless somebody trades up, you give a lot to move way up there.
Yeah, possibly. But I think he is probably going to go to a really bad organization right now. I don't see a Jaden Daniels situation where they're going to be in the playoff mix. There's a good chance whoever drafts him, whoever that head coach is going to have a bad year. So if you're Deion, you sit back for another year at Colorado, and you wait till that guy gets fired, and then you don't have to get into this, we're going to manipulate the draft with my kid. I'll just let it play out.
You look around, though, teams that really, 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 really need quarterbacks.
The New York Giants.
The New York Giants. Probably the Jets.
The Raiders.
The Raiders, 100%. That's the one that is very attractive to me for Shedeur. And the New Orleans Saints. I mean, there's four right there that absolutely are in dire need of quarterback.
Just when you said it, Deion to the Raiders feels like a fit.
Oh, my God. It just
Antonio
works,
Pierce
right?
clearly has not worked out. But
he wears that black hat.
No, I'm just saying. I don't know why, but when you said it, I could see him on the sidelines as the Raiders coach.
Me too.
So right now, the two worst records, the New York Giants, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the Vegas Raiders, they're all 2-10 right now.
Yeah, the difference there is the Jags won't draft quarterback. I mean, they've just invested in Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
well, I mean, his head's scrambled now.
Well, that's one concussion, though. I mean, Tua's played through 10.
No, you're right. They have invested. I don't think the Jags will do anything. So it does come down to the Raiders and the Giants. Do you think these teams lose out? Like, is Shedeur that type of quarterback that you lose out for?
I don't think he's good enough to do that.
But by the way,
I hope the Raiders lose at least one more game to think about it because they got the Bucs this weekend.
Well, Antonio Pierce and or Brian Dable, they are not long for this world as far as those current positions.
Dable's out. Got to be.
Yeah, he's got to be.
It's been a huge mess, and the Jets are changing.
I think he even dyed his beard and hair this weekend.
To look younger for job interviews?
Yeah. I really did. If you go back and look, I think
is that a thing?
I think he did. I think he colored up.
We had a coworker we all really liked, and anytime corporate was coming into town, he would dye his mustache because he had the gray mustache.
Oh, I didn't know this.
Oh, 100%. And I used to always think, you want to do the opposite. They're not going to fire you if you're old.
Yeah, right.
You want to.
I'd have a walking cane if I was worried about job security.
Yeah, you want to look old in this.
What can you give me the what am I looking for? Was it sales?
No, it was not. It was.
Yeah, what department?
I mean, yes.
I'll just write one word.
Yeah, you'll know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, every time, I'm telling you, we noticed
he was the most valuable employee we had.
I know. I know. I was like, that's what I want to tell him. You're not in danger. And number two, you're better off if you look old than young.
And I know it may have confused you when he said most valuable employee, but it's not me. It's someone else.
You never had a mustache.
And it was in radio. It was not here, by the way.
I did have a beard one time. I did have a beard.
I wouldn't call it a beard.
What is Tyler showing us?
Yeah, what is this, Tyler?
to the
like a
Shadur
Colorado Bible.
conversation and Dion possibly leaving, I tried to find a picture of the letter with Dion on it, but Colorado has redone their scholarship offer letters to have a Colorado Louis Vuitton sort of print on it.
Oh.
And I couldn't find a picture of it, but there's a big picture of Dion on the inside.
Okay.
So I don't think he's going anywhere.
Wow. I think this shows you the separation of academics and NIL now.
Hey, but that school's all in. I mean,
they are.
When you watch the games and they run their school commercial.
I've got one of my best friend's daughters is at Boulder right now, and it was all academics for her. But the stir up now, I mean, it is Saban-like in the early days of Tuscaloosa and what he meant for at least the growth of the enrollment.
Stick around when we come back. Just for Taylor Corn, a Bryan Harsin update. Also, we'll get you sort of caught up on what's happening in National Signing Day and continue the debate. 4 down, still ahead, a lot more. Show being brought to you by a couple of great sponsors. One of them is our friends at the Golfist. Tell us about the Golfist, Brown.
Well, thegolfist.com is the website to get all the information I'm about to tell you, but it's Birmingham's best indoor golf simulators, and they've got a location right now in Vestavia on Highway 31, one coming very soon to the 280 corridor, and then there'll be one in Trussville very soon as well. All the great golf courses you know and love, you see on TV, you've always wanted to play. You can play them on simulators when the weather's bad, the weather's cold, or if you just want to get a group together and go have some fun, go reserve a bay right now, thegolfist.com. That is thegolfist.com. Great place for holiday parties up to 50 as well. They've got TVs in the bay so you can have the games on while you're playing. Bring your own food, bring your own clubs if you desire. Go practice or just go have some fun. Thegolfist.com. Thegolfist.com. Get out of the office. Get in the Golfist at thegolfist.com.
And our friend Jim at the New York Butcher Shop wants to thank all the Next Round listeners, viewers for coming in with their gear on to get those Thanksgiving meals freshly prepared. He wants to remind you the holidays continue. And if you're looking for the big Christmas meals, you've got a Christmas party. He has got absolutely everything that you would love. The finest selection of age-certified Angus prime beef tenderloins, prime rib roast, the Duroc pork rib that we talked about yesterday, the Japanese certified A5 Wagyu fillets, other cuts. They've got a great selection of fine wines, and they offer discounts. 10% off a half case, 15% off a full case. How about a case of wine, giving that to somebody for the holiday season? I would love it. Great desserts such as the New York-style cheesecake, key lime pies, famous banana breads, one-stop shop, rare quality, well-done service, 2 locations, Cabo Heights, Highway 119. It's the New York Butcher Shop.
Everything Next Round is on demand now in the podcast section at nextroundlive.com.
Are you tired of buying your CPAP mask and supplies online only to be disappointed? It's time to visit CPAP Plus, your locally owned and operated CPAP shop that prides itself on personal service. Come see what you're buying at CPAP Plus with 3 convenient locations in Pelham, Highway 280, and now open in Trussville. Drop by for a free CPAP checkup and free filters, no appointment needed. Plus, sign up for their giveaway for a chance to win a free travel CPAP machine. Just Google CPAP Plus or visit any of those 3 locations.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. On game day, you never have to decide which teams to watch, only what combination of bites, burgers, wings, and more to order. Plus, where else are your favorite draft beers always poured at a frozen 29 degrees? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Stick around after the sun sets. Twin Peaks is open really late. Wind down with bourbon and late-night bites. Only at Twin Peaks.
If renting is putting a dent in your bank account, here's your sign from the universe that it's time to buy a new home. And who better to help you through the ins and outs of home buying than our friends at Mortgage Right. With Mortgage Right, you don't have to worry about becoming a short-notice mortgage expert because they do all the heavy lifting for you. They're trusted mortgage professionals, and they'll help you choose the right mortgage option and stand by your side every step of the way. Visit mortgageright.com/TNR to buy before renting runs you dry. That's mortgageright.com/TNR. NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. calendar. Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing. From the creators of The Next Round comes two new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. Two team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. Covercrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
The beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by their professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their two locations today in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
Hang out with The Next Round on the go. Whether you're driving to work, running errands, sitting on the beach, or you just need a break from the real world, we can keep you company. Check out The Next Round, Mystery Fifth Hour, and our other shows on your favorite podcast app. We'll meet you there.
On Red Zone on Sundays, when you get to the fourth quarter of all the early games, it's the what, Brownie?
It's the witching hour.
The witching hour.
Games change. Wins turn into losses. Losses turn into wins.
It's the witching hour for Auburn recruiting. It's a big moment in the day here. There is a strong belief that everything corner Naheem Offord, who flipped to Ohio State recently verbally, in mere seconds, could be flipping back and signing with Auburn. There's that hope out there. Forrester and Taylor will let me know if that happens. I don't think we have live cameras, but it's the possibility that it could be happening here any second. I had made a note, 10:30 was the witching hour for a big-time recruit in our state, Naheem Offord, from here in the Birmingham metro area. So something to keep an eye on. Brownie, get ready to give us a updated real-time team rankings of where everybody are of importance.
Who am I using?
I think we decided to use On3 Sports
I think
years ago.
Yeah,
right?
I think On3 is the consensus of the consensus, right? So
Yeah.
it factors everybody in, so you may as well.
Yeah, so
All right,
On3
I'll give you that.
It's right after LT tells us about the great folks at Rodney Scott. Hey, the ACC got grilled again last night in the football playoff rankings, but it did not taste as anything smoked from Rodney, as good as anything smoked from Rodney Scott.
Hey, if you're trying to prepare for a great lunch today, two locations where we are here in Birmingham, the Trustful location where we did a show a couple of weeks ago, the Homewood location. Fabulous, some of the best ribs you'll ever had. People swear about those great wings, fantastic southern desserts as well. A James Beard Award winner is cooking your barbecue over the pit. We talked about the spatchcock turkeys. You can get those for Christmas as well. Great stocking stuffer is a gift card from our friends at Rodney Scott's. Get in for lunch or dinner. For more information, RodneyScottsBBQ.com.
And our UCA Urology Center's painful stat of the day, Bryan Harsin, number one candidate for the Utah State job.
Well, I mean, that job has had some upward mobility in the past. It's not an awful job.
No, not at all.
Blake Anderson was
Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson first, and then Blake Anderson eventually.
Yeah.
Right?
I think Bryan Harsin, again, such a weird fit in, to go from Boise to Auburn, but I mean, he knows the Mountain West. He knows that territory. He's obviously got some fire and something to prove. I don't think that's a bad hire. I know people will laugh based on what he didn't do at Auburn and the trolling that's going on right now. But obviously he's got time on his hands, right?
Yeah, that's right. We'll get him off social media.
I don't know why the hell he would want that job unless he just wants to get back into football.
I mean, that was a pretty good paycheck he walked away from Auburn with. But, listen, there are some people, I mean, as
he doesn't
Lance
have
said,
to give that money back if he takes a job.
No,
right?
I don't think there's offset there. I think that money is his. But, to Lance's point, he joked about, he's got a lot of time on his hands. Those coaches that have poured themselves into coaching, when they end up with all that time on their hands, it can be very difficult for them to adjust. Yeah. I mean, we would look at it and say, somebody gives me $20 million and I have to walk away and not work. I could probably figure that one out.
Yeah, but you still have to have something to do. Maybe it's playing golf. Maybe it's painting. Maybe it's touring the world.
Yeah, it could be. But, I mean, that stuff, when you're addicted to football, and I do think college football coaching is an addiction. It almost has to be. When you get addicted to that, it's hard to feed that addiction just playing golf.
But I think more of a challenge in Utah State is like, can I go to a different country and watch a football game, a college football game in every one of those countries?
Nobody got more money to walk away than Jimbo Fisher, and there's a chance he ends up back in Morgantown.
Yeah, or somewhere else.
Yeah,
7-0 Troy. I love the respect that he's gone basketball.
That's right.
7-0 Troy. Moving to a state where polygamy is a thing. Sounds about right. Well played. All right, team rankings, but that's our painful stat of the day. Bryan Harsin, the leading candidate at Utah State, brought to you by our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. If you got a pain, some people would call it a Harsin in your urological tract, you need to call our friends at UCA. 16 locations, 35 urologists treating all your urological needs, from prostate health to kidney stones. They'll take care of vasectomies as well. Visit urologycentersalabama.com to schedule an appointment today. Brownie, where do we stand right now?
I mean, you're going to find some of these teams that are in the top 5 in recruiting stunning, guys. Texas, number 1.
That's interesting to me that Texas is number 1.
Why is that interesting?
Well, it's not Georgia, Alabama, or Ohio State.
No, you'll get to those very quickly.
Yeah, but just real quick, Texas is always up there. Now they're in the SEC, and not only are they in the SEC, they're 11-1.
Oh, that's interesting to me.
Okay.
24 total commitments, 3 of those 5 stars, according to On3. Alabama is number 2, 21 thus far, 4 5 stars for them. Georgia, number 3, 28 in this class for them, will include 4 5 stars as well. Number 4 is Ohio State, 26 with 3 5 stars. Then you get to the Auburn Tigers, 25 in this class, 1 5 star for them. Oregon is number 6, Michigan number 7, Mike Elko in Texas A&M number 8, Brian Kelly working on that national championship, he said, at number 9, Josh Heupel in Tennessee number 10. You want some more SECs just for giggles?
Yeah, absolutely.
Florida is at 11. Ole Miss is at 15. Oklahoma is at 16. How many SEC teams am I up to now? I mean, I've got to be approaching 10 right now, right? And we're only to number 16. Missouri is 18. South Carolina is 20. State is 22. That's not a terrible class for Jeff Lebby coming off what they've come off of.
I mean, especially with a disaster year.
Yeah. Outside of the SEC, I just want to mention Clemson at 24. It just continues to baffle me. I mean, he's going to get away with it if they can win this game. He's going to be in the college football playoff. But Dabo's recruiting has fallen way off. He's very, very much against operating in the transfer portal in the NIL world to a certain extent. But hey, he hadn't been punished for it yet.
Yeah, what happened to the days of the slide and the barber, and he relates well to players, and they were killing it recruiting for a while.
Well, he says, I'm just not going to play the NIL game. And he's got no 5 stars. He's got 6 4 stars.
He's being bailed out, by the way, with the revenue sharing that's coming next football season, because that's not the NIL game. That'll be revenue sharing, and his school will be able to compete with other ACC schools on that part, and then use the NIL money to sort of give a little extra there. Tyler, if you'll give me cut 7, speaking of Dabo, we all saw Fran Brown after the Syracuse win on ESPN tell Dawn Davenport. He looked at Dawn and then the camera and said, "You're welcome, Dabo." got you into the game. Dabo was asked about that and about having a chance to play his way into the playoffs without using that portal, Brown. Dabo on his high horse. Yeah.
Will you send Syracuse anything like some Clemson fans have been like doing?
Man, if we win the national championship, he's going to be riding in the car with me through downtown Clemson. Just go ahead and print that right now. Y'all write it down. We win, and why not? Why not? I mean, it's just football. We got a bunch of good football players. All you got to do is win the game you're playing. Why not? I mean, somebody's going to win it, And we fortunate enough to win this game. You get a ticket to Willy Wonka's factory, right? You get to go. You on the magic elevator, and you get to be in the tournament. And so, if we're fortunate to win this game and get that opportunity, anything can happen. Anything can happen. I think we were the first 15-0 team, national championship team. Maybe we could be the first 3-loss team. Boy, that would upset some people. God, y'all would have to take a bunch of stuff back that y'all say every day. That would really disappoint some people. But why not? Why not?
Well, I mean,
God, he's so hokey.
So you guys tell me.
So hokey, and I don't know how he's so sensitive still.
It's a movie reference. You like movie references.
I don't know if he got it right. Yeah. Which Willy Wonka, by the way?
They got the ticket. They've got these teams grouped together, Arizona State, Iowa State, and Clemson, 15, 16, and 17. So obviously it's an automatic bid. I ask you, do they jump the Big 12 winner with a win over SMU, do you think? Because this becomes an important question.
I do believe they would.
Which means what, Jim?
They get a bye.
I mean, he's going to go from going to rivalry Saturday, not even in the playoffs, to a bye potentially. Because I'm with Jim. I think if they win, they jump the Big 12 winner.
I can't tell you how hard I'm pulling for Rhett Lashley and SMU. I mean, I love the fact that SMU said, hey, we're not going to take any money. They come into the league and then maybe go undefeated for that. But at the same time, this Clemson team does not even closely deserve to be in the college football playoffs.
So they get a bye, which I don't think they would jump Boise, Jim. I don't think they would jump that high. So they get a bye. They'd probably be the number 4.
Yeah, 0 chance they jump Boise.
I wouldn't think so. So they'd be the number 4, which means you get the 5-12 winner.
What if UNLV wins?
Oh, they'll jump. Well, they're in front of you.
Then,
right?
Then they're number 3.
They
get the 3 seed.
Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah. Now, they could be as high as the 3 seed. Yeah. There's no doubt. I mean, there's zero doubt about that.
We discussed this last night on the phone, Brent. We were amazed at how high
Clemson could get
with a win.
Did y'all set up dinner reservations for Friday night?
No.
I'm never part of that.
It was, oh, yeah.
No, I'm not. I trust you.
There was we were working something out. Dunaway, we're going to be in Atlanta on Friday. Dunaway and EG and I have some things to do with the SEC. But I started out by talking about the playoffs because at the time I had not all the way worked through it in my mind, and I was thinking, could Alabama get as high as the 10 seed? And then I worked through it, what he's talking about with the bye with Clemson. I was like, oh, no, they can't.
I can't. You're talking about flawed, and that's where people will have a fit. It's one thing to have a one-loss Boise team getting this bye and being in the top 4. But if you get a 3-loss Clemson team that moves up to number 3?
I said this from the beginning. I think this is going to be the move everybody regrets, is giving these conference champions byes. And I think it's going to play out that way.
And as I pointed out to you last night, when Clapp brought up the next iteration of the playoffs, there'll just be 2 byes. And Brown and I both agreed last night it would always be Big Ten and SEC champion getting those byes. That gives you the importance of the Big Ten and SEC championship game again, and then everyone else would be in those first-round games on campus.
But what we've done, this is what I told Dunaway, what we've done, Lance, is we've created what's going to be a spectacular first round on campus. I mean, we're looking at these types of matchups. I'm not saying this is what it'll be, but we're looking at Alabama at Notre Dame.
Tennessee, Ohio State.
Tennessee at Ohio State. Indiana at Georgia, that type of game, and we've then created a subpar second round.
The possibility of a blowout versus Clemson, a blowout versus
Boise,
Boise.
And that's why the committee, I think one of their bigger jobs now that they've figured out it's going to come down to these 2 teams. You've got to manipulate this as much as you can and set up those second-round matchups.
It's going to be hard, though, if Clemson and Boise are 2-year bye holders.
Well, it's going to be impossible.
Yeah. But that first round is going to be spectacular because the teams that ought to be in the top 4 are going to be down in the games that are in the first round now. So it's going to create an amazing first round.
Anything, Forrester, from offered yet?
they are about to do it. He's not committed yet.
Okay. Keep Scott's mic open for developing news there on the Auburn thing. While we read a couple of spots here, Dr. B gets us ready for this championship weekend. Maybe a hair-raising commitment for Auburn fans here in just a second.
Our friend Dr. B, look, if you're looking to maintain, you're looking to grow some of that hair back, it happens to all of us. I saw Keenan Allen without the helmet the other day for the Chicago Bears.
Hey, wow.
Yeah, I mean, his is gone.
It is.
And Keenan Allen, I am going to guess, is right at 30, 31 years old.
Yeah, I was just like, man, Keenan Allen's been in the league a long time, and they showed him without his helmet. I was like, I didn't know it'd been that long.
Yeah, it comes at you fast, whether it's in your late 20s, your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s, and Dr. Beckenstein is the best in the business. When it started to happen to me, I asked around. I do that non-invasive treatment 3 times a week, 30 minutes each time on the couch. My hair has more than doubled in thickness. Dr. B pioneered the use of NeoGraft hair restoration right here in Alabama, remains at the forefront of hair preservation in the Southeast. He takes pride in treating each patient personally, applying his expertise to produce those quality results. Call Dr. B and that great staff today. Schedule a consultation, 205-319-0316, 205-319-0316, or t3hair.net.
Nothing yet? Okay. Show also being brought to you by our friends at MyBookie. His mic is open, right?
Interrupt me.
It's open. There, we got a bunch of speakers and, doing the whole the dance.
The whole show?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. MyBookie.ag.
Interrupt anytime, Scott. MyBookie.ag, code next round. I was going to give you some updated basketball numbers. Lance, we say this every night. God, there are a lot of basketball games. North Carolina up a half point. They are a 2-point favorite now in Chapel Hill over the University of Alabama. That's 1.5 the last time we looked at it. Duke up half a point to 3 over the Auburn Tigers at mybookie.ag right now. You can play those games. You can play the NFL game coming up tomorrow night. It's going to be a fun game, I think. Lions and Packers in Detroit. Lions a 3.5-point favorite there. And then all of the college football action. The conference championship games, everything hanging around, somewhere around where it opened. SMU a 2.5-point favorite over Clemson. Oregon 3.5-point favorite over Penn State in the Big Ten. Texas 2.5-point favorite over Georgia in the SEC, and Arizona State a 2-point favorite over Iowa State in the Big 12. All those games available at mybookie.ag. Code next round when you sign on. Gets you a 300% bonus in the casino area. You make your deposit. They give you a 300% bonus to use in the casino right there at mybookie.ag, and we'll throw in 50 free spins as well just for being a great, great next round fan. mybookie.ag, code next round. That is mybookie.ag, code next round.
Forster?
Still nothing. We got speakers. We're doing a lot of talking.
What if Scott
did I
just
say,
waves?
is it Ohio State he flipped to the other day, or was it Oregon?
That's Ohio State.
It was
It's
Ohio
Ohio
State.
State. He's currently an Ohio State commit, but there seems to be a lot of smoke around Oregon.
Interesting.
Any smoke around Auburn? Am I wasting my time here? I thought you told me there was a chance Auburn was in the mix here.
Well, yeah. I mean, the three, I guess, that it could be would be Ohio State, Oregon, and Auburn.
Okay.
Any hats out yet?
Well, those are
the three.
What's out? Yeah.
Okay. What order?
That's
are they?
what's on his table.
What order are they in?
I can't currently see his table because the camera's on.
I was trying to get
coach talking.
Yeah. A lot of talkers.
Whose
Scott
camera
says.
is that?
3340s.
Oh,
What kind of camera?
Give us a quick live look real quick. See what
I think it's on his phone. Is it on his phone?
I'm looking on my phone.
Oh, okay. Hold up your phone for me.
Shout out 3340.
ABC 3340. Great work over there. Is it McCulley who's there, I wonder? I bet it is. McCulley over there.
Who drove him there, do you think, Scott?
Probably Johnny.
Oh, you think
Johnny
so?
drove him over
Johnny
there.
Cogden?
Just seems like a big moment in the day for Auburn. This would be a big. Am I not right about this? This would be huge.
Oh, there's no doubt. It would be a huge one.
Yeah.
It doesn't. I don't know that it's going to go that way though.
You think it's trending Oregon? Is what you sound like.
That's what the Alabama fans in the chat say.
That's what some Oregon insiders are starting to say on.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Well,
on the
I mean,
socials.
That's what insiders are going to say, Scotty. When's the last time we had somebody come down to Oregon or Auburn?
Bo Nix, technically.
I don't know if Auburn was an option.
Yeah, it's true. He was done at Auburn, right?
Yeah.
So you think this Offord kid watched Ohio State lose to Michigan again and said, I don't want any part of that?
I don't want to get pepper sprayed.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, if you're playing,
Oregon seems pretty cool.
It does. I mean, it is a cool brand.
It is a very cool brand, but it is in the absolute middle of nowhere. I guess a lot of kids don't care about that.
Have you seen Brandon?
As a parent, I would, though. I don't know about you guys, but I would want a little more accessibility. Now, maybe you get Phil's jet.
Well, I mean, I think in this world, it's much easier now to get to games with the way players are compensated than it would have been back in the day. I mean, I'll say this. Patrick Nix was still coaching at Central Phoenix City and made every one of Bo's games at Oregon, if I am not mistaken, Jim. So, I mean, it's obviously not impossible to do. Patrick Nix somehow managed to do it. I don't know if he was flying private or flying commercial. There are times where there's no way it was commercial.
Some people would say he was recruiting for Central Phoenix City and just swung by Oregon on the way.
That's a long way to go to get a player.
I say that as a Thompson grad.
Yeah, I was about to say, you got a mirror over there, Jimmy.
They don't even play each other. Is it Central and Thompson, or is it?
Yeah, it's Central and Thompson. Yeah,
Central and Thompson.
Yeah, y'all are enemies this week. They were talking about it on Monday Night Football. That's how big that game is.
I thought somebody else got in there to play Thompson, like Enterprise or somebody. No, Central Phoenix.
Yeah. What kind of lom are you? You don't even know who your school's playing. Y'all won so many championships, you don't care anymore.
I just know it's in the championship.
Yeah,
game.
you don't even care anymore, do you?
Yeah, it's a direct withdrawal from the checking account. Don't have to donate anymore.
In the NIL.
All right, Forster? No?
Nothing.
Nothing.
I got nothing for you, Jim.
Well, while we wait, yesterday, Athletic Director Mark Ingram of UAB issued a long letter to UAB season ticket holders and fans, made public, that he says, in his opinion, current head coach Trent Dilfer has, quote, learned a great deal and has a plan for the future and will be retained and back as coach for 2025. He literally said, learned a great deal and has a plan for the future. So Dilfer is coming back to UAB.
It didn't look good in October. I'm not saying he turned it around, but they did play better in November. And I think that's a big part of this. I think Trent Dilfer should be back for year 3.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm borderline on that. I don't know if it's going to get any better, but I do know in this day and age, you're not going to pay that buyout. I just don't know. I mean, who's paying big buyouts right now?
By the way, I would rather spend that buyout on borderline players that I might be able to bring in.
Why would you not?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
what are we talking about? Ballpark.
I've heard different numbers.
$8
but
million?
The last I heard was 7.5. I can't swear that that's what it is, but from talking to people, I think that was. I mean, it's a public contract.
Boy, that's a big number for UAB.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You
Meanwhile,
think UAB's going to write
half
that
of that and spend on players?
Oh, you could.
Now you're doing something.
You got a competitive roster in the American.
Now,
because Ryan Walters tells everyone that his NIL budget to work with at Purdue is $400,000. That doesn't get you.
That
doesn't get you a starter at Ohio State.
I mean, you can't get a starting guard at Ohio State.
Yeah. Not for $400,000. And that was his entire NIL budget, according to the fired coach. I don't know if that's true or not, but.
Well, he coached like it was his budget. I mean.
Apparently Drew Brees was giving none of his walk-ons money.
Yeah, I just, I mean, who's paying big buyouts right now? Give me,
Nobody.
Look at all the coaches that have been fired. Like, I don't think Neil Brown's was all that big. I mean,
everybody else with G5 coaches.
Yeah, most of the coaches that have been fired are the smaller schools. Like, these schools are starting to, like Napier and guys like that. Now, Napier ended up earning it, but when it was announced, Napier was still very, very borderline going into that Texas game. It turned a little bit for him after that. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if big schools are going to be quick to fire anymore with these big buyouts. It's just a different world we're living in right now. And UAB's far from a big school, but money's tighter for them than it is for these big schools.
Our McCurry Spotlight today is on the commitment of Naheem Offord. Anything yet, Forster?
Nope.
Not yet. Tell us about our friends at McCurry, and we'll spotlight National Signing Day as we continue on. Browning.
Yeah, National Signing Day definitely in the spotlight. McCurry Van and Car Rental keeps you in those cars that are hard to find. The cars, the vans, the trucks you rent from McCurry Van and Car Rental, local rental company you can depend on. All kinds of trucks, SUVs, passenger vans. North Alabama covered in Athens, Muscle Shoals, Huntsville, Coleman on 2nd Avenue Northwest, Skyland Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Reserve your rental today, 256-559-1003. That's 256-559-1003 or McCurryRentals.com.
And a little bit after the show, I'm going to be heading out to the Inverness Country Club. Probably not golf weather.
You're not going to play 18?
Some people can battle through this cold. Yeah. I would think that would be the most miserable weather to play in.
I'll let you know today.
Yeah, Dunaway's
Are you really playing today?
Yeah. I got a little 1240.
Cold and wind. That's the worst part.
Oh, wow. Anyway, there are plenty of great days at Inverness, and they've got memberships that fit everyone from the social to the golf with the newly expanded driving range. Maybe you relocated to retired. Inverness, a great place to network. Childcare also a big plus. Maybe you work from home. What about working from the club while they watch your kid? Whatever your interests are, you can find it at Inverness. Make sure you call today. Schedule a tour of this unbelievable club. Call Aaron. Tell her the next round sent you. 205-991-8608. That's 205-991-8608 or online, iccalabama.com.
CU Buff says, Jim and Lance playing rock, paper, scissors. No, occasionally I will try to give a sign to them on what the next read is, or to Forrester them in the back. Like earlier, I was sending message to Forrester that we were about to do New York Butcher Shop.
Yeah, what'd you show him?
I was chopping the steak. He didn't understand that one, so I had to go.
What was that?
Butcher.
Oh.
I'm being butchered. I'm cutting off the arm and the leg.
Did Scott figure that one out from the hand signals?
He's amazing.
Yeah.
Eventually, Jim's quite the charades
player.
Pants store.
Yeah, it is. What if that's
don't
way to
forget UCA?
Yeah.
UCA, I'm Calvin on the back of a pickup truck.
What is Way to Wellness?
Way to Wellness is
every day.
Every day.
Give me another one.
So sometimes mine are just, hey, like you give me Academy.
My bookie is
What was
the shake weight?
Was it the 2-for-1? Because the 2-for-1 was this one.
I'll never forget. We're in the downstairs studio. This is probably 12, 13 years ago. First time we ever saw it in the infomercial. We all saw it at the same time on the one TV we had in studio, and we were like, holy hell, what is going on?
I thought it was a SNL skit.
I know. I mean, we're all watching the same TV. This one smiling guy is doing a shake weight commercial. We're like,
and a girl.
Yeah. Did anybody look at this commercial first?
They knew what was happening.
Yeah.
Inverness Country Club is the golf swing.
Okay.
Yeah.
That could be the golfist, too. How do I determine if you want Lance to talk Inverness or me to talk golfist?
That's a good one. I'm looking at Lance for golf, looking at you for
golfist. Okay.
Yeah, there's usually a steering wheel involved with Johnston.
Yeah, that's Johnston RV.
Johnston RV is this.
That's right, because that's the way you drive an RV.
Yep,
A plus. Show them A plus.
is the plus. A plus.
A plus.
Yeah.
Academy is just
Academy's just the A.
Yeah. It's amazing, actually, how efficient the hand signals have become.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pretty much figure it out.
When they're received.
Yes, yeah, when they're received. Two world famous.
So there you go. There's a little inside baseball for you there.
Yep.
Stuff that goes on usually off camera. Top of the hour. Anything, Forrester?
We still got people talking at a microphone that are not players.
Lim, my believer, says 7 adults have spoken already.
We'll flip to the other side and let you know when we come back.
The commitment happens in the next 2 minutes now that we're at break.
It's always going to happen.
Go,
Top of the hour, though, and that gets us to the final hour. Brought to you by our friends at Champy's World Famous Fried Chicken. Champy's Chicken, right there, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Go by and see Sterling and the crew. I love those 2 big breasts.
Yeah.
Cooked to order right there. All the great sides and the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales and so much more. Champy'sChicken.com. Highway 119, tailgating, lunch, office meetings, holiday parties. They do it all. And don't forget the Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. It's Champy's Chicken, Champy'sChicken.com.
Follow Scott Forrester on Twitter at scottforestertv.
Happy football season. At the next round, we strive to make our loyal listeners feel like they're a part of the action all season long. My name is Emily Grace McWhorter, and I do that by bringing you along for any given Saturday in Auburn or Tuscaloosa. From pregame warm-ups, touchdowns that make you feel a part of the play, and everything in between, our goal is to make you feel like you're inside Bryant Denny or Jordan Hare. Follow along on our social media at Next Round Live on Instagram, X, and Facebook. Also, check out thebarnauburn.com and covercrimson.com while you're at it. Here's to fall Saturdays.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
The
beauty of the holiday is at the center of your table with the New York Butcher Shop. Their selection of USDA certified Angus prime rib roast, beef tenderloins, and fillets, as well as premium pork and lamb cuts, are the finest selections available in the market and are hand-cut just the way you want. With side dishes handmade by the professional chefs, your holiday meal is complete. Visit one of their 2 locations today, in Cahaba Heights or off Highway 119 in Greystone. Place your order today. The New York Butcher Shop. Rare quality, well-done service.
The holiday season is here, and this is the start of something fun. It's a season centered on when to shop, when to wrap, when to open presents. But at Academy Sports and Outdoors, it's all about where, because the best holiday fun happens out there, on the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. Because however you shop, no matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price, in-store and online at academy.com. Academy, have fun out there.
From the creators of The Next Round comes 2 new sites, covercrimson.com and thebarnauburn.com. 2 team sites with the same excitement and information-driven content that you get every day on The Next Round. Live daily shows, recorded shows, free of charge, plus premium content with insider information starting at just $1. And it's the perfect gift for the Alabama or Auburn fan in your family. CoverCrimson.com or thebarnauburn.com. Sign up today.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Looking for a great place for that boring meeting? Leave the office and go to the Golfus. What about corporate events like board meetings, sales meetings, customer appreciation events? How about the Golfus? Watch parties for football and basketball, parties for birthdays or couple showers. The Golfus is a great place for those. The Golfus has Birmingham's best golf simulators and man caves in Vestavia on Highway 31, opening soon in Trussville and on Highway 280. Bring whatever you want to eat or drink, even bring your own clubs. Get out of the office. Go to the Golfus. Book your spot now at thegolfus.com.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, you're in the red zone for every college rivalry and divisional matchup all season long. I mean, where else are the scenic views as good as your view of the game? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
Here at The Next Round, we love our guests, especially our 2024 football regulars. Auburn and Alabama fans, we've got your guys. On Mondays at 9:25, we'll be joined by Alabama offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and Tuesdays at 9:25, we chat with Auburn quarterback Peyton Thorne. Join us and rep your team.
Jim Dunaway, Lance Taylor, Ryan Brown. Live from the Birmingham Racecourse Casino Studios, The Next Round, presented by Bud Light, is on now.
What I think's a potentially alarming comment from Carson Beck that at some point he'll have to walk back in his interviews for the NFL in just a second. This hour is always brought to you by Champies and our friends at Gray's Tree Service. Before you tell us about Gray's, Forrester, any update?
I think we're on speaker number 8 or 9, maybe.
So anyway, in 5th grade.
Yeah. None of these are family members? They're just like coaches, administrators, superintendents?
Correct.
Yeah. Pastors?
Hey, do you know if my guy Miles McKee has spoken yet?
I'm not sure I know Miles McKee.
He's one of the assistants down there. Great guy. Good friend of mine.
Basketball tonight, by the way. Auburn, #1 in the Ken Pom in Cameron Indoor against Duke. By far, biggest game in the country. Biggest game in the country so far, 8:15, ESPN. Before that, Alabama, North Carolina, 6:15 on ESPN. The SEC 9-1 in the SEC ACC Challenge yesterday. The only loss, Clemson beating Kentucky. Which was a really good basketball game, but Clemson too physical at the end. That update brought to you by our friends at Gray's Tree Service.
Hey, family-owned, operated for over 25 years right here in Birmingham. I had them out months ago to extract 4 pines. Brown had them out last week. Fantastic work. Experts in high-risk tree removals, pruning, the soil health treatment to strengthen those trees and plants. Call today, 281-6100. Tell them The Next Round sent you. You can scan that QR code that Scotty is pulled up right there, or just visit graystree.com.
That Schiffler guy for Clemson can play, man.
Oh, yeah.
And he gets after it. He is nonstop.
Like, just on looks, would you pick him on the?
No, but so athletic.
But what is he
for his look?
6'8", 6'9"?
Yeah.
Is that what he plays at, you think?
He was. I mean, obviously, P.J. Hall was the guy that made them, get as deep as they did last year. But he was the complimentary guy in that run last year in the tournament that was so good. He's just so athletic.
Seeing him play in person, he just does it all.
He gets after it, too.
He'll dive on the floor.
Yeah, nonstop. And the crowd loves him, obviously. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Is that what I'm doing, Jim? I'm doing Academy.
Yes,
Academy Sports and Outdoors. Now open in Birmingham, 4610 U.S. Highway 280. It's in the old Best Buy right there in the Target Shopping Center. Wide selection of trusted brands: Nike, Stanley, Brooks, Carhartt, Blackstone, Yeti, Titleist, Shimano, and more. The store is now open, and you can go get great outdoor gear, apparel, footwear, the brands you love, and low prices every single day. 4610 U.S. Highway 280, or your local Academy Sports and Outdoors.
We'll get to the Slice 4 Downs coming up here in just a second. Carson Beck, though. That's right, 4 downs. You're right.
That's right. That's normally
brought to you by
Slice.
Yeah. Carson Beck said this yesterday. Is the question in here, Forrester? Do you remember? Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Question's in here, so I'll just let you listen, and you tell me if this is not something you bring up when you do your interviews with him in Indianapolis at the Combine. Here's Carson Beck.
With the way the schedule worked, you got to sit there and watch Texas A&M on Saturday night. Was there anything that stood out to you, maybe that was different that you picked up from watching Texas's defense?
Yeah, well, I watch football, so I know that sounds
give me a
kinda
start
crazy,
over on that one because we missed the good part.
Yeah, it skipped a little bit.
Skipped a little bit there.
With the way the schedule worked, you got to sit there and watch Texas A&M on Saturday night. Was there anything that stood out to you, maybe that was different that you picked up from watching Texas's defense?
Yeah, well, I don't watch football, so I know that sounds kind of crazy, but no, I don't really enjoy watching football. It's not fun for me. I watch film, so I'll explain for a second what I mean by that. So if I watch that game, I'm not just going to be able to sit there and enjoy it. I'm going to stress myself out the whole entire time. I'm watching the defense. I'm like, okay, why this coverage on this down? I'm like, well, why did he throw it there against this coverage? But you can learn from watching it, but no, it's stressful for me because I don't ever give myself a break whenever it comes to football. But I've watched the film back, obviously now afterwards, knowing that we're going to be playing Texas in the SEC championship. But their defense is really good. They have a lot of talent on defense, and their defensive coordinator does a good job at putting them in good positions to execute and play at a high level. So just excited for the opportunity to play them again.
Okay, not as bad as the headline.
No, he was getting killed for this. Yeah,
I don't enjoy watching football.
On Saturday night, would you be chasing one of those twins around your condo, or are you watching Texas A&M?
He's caught one of those, Lance.
Yeah, he doesn't have a choice. He's tied into one, right?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
You never know when confusion
might
strike.
He did back that up, and I don't think it was that bad. The fact of the matter is, I've been around guys before that we really just don't watch a lot. We're so consumed with it day to day. When we get away from it, we don't want to watch it. Now, there's the other side of that where you've got just a guy that is 100% passionate and wants to do nothing but live, breathe, eat during football.
I saw that differently the way it was reported, and so I thought it was going to be something he had to explain. He actually explained it the way Nick Saban said. I don't really watch a game as a fan.
I can't.
I watch it, and I'm always breaking it down. That's exactly what he said. So not a bad answer from Carson Beck at all. He is a guy, though, that's going to have to answer a lot of questions when he gets to the NFL Combine about his play and the things, the way it looks this year. And when you talk about Jalen Milroe, whether he should come back another year, Quinn Ewers, whether he should come back another year, I wonder if you think about Carson Beck, if he had gone last year, he's in a different situation than he is now. His draft stock has plummeted.
Well, I'll tell you, if he just would have, I don't know what the excuse would be for missing this season, but if it wasn't an over-the-top, something medical, if there was something he could have done to sit out this year, he might have been the number 1 overall pick. Yeah, that's what he was projected as coming into the season.
But he could have left, and he chose to come back only to try to win a championship. He was dragged. He was eligible.
The reason
for the
he
draft.
didn't leave last year is that was a deep quarterback draft.
It was, but he would have been. He would have been
a first rounder. Somebody would have. Now it looks like kind of a reach. Look, if he comes back, I mean, I guess he's got one more year, right?
I don't think he does. I think
thought
that was
he
it.
did.
Is he out of eligibility?
Because he's only had 2 full years as a starter, and I think he was there with 2 years with Stetson, including 2020.
I can answer this very, very quickly. No, he did not get the COVID year.
Yeah.
I don't. If you were on the team during the COVID year, do you get it?
I don't know.
So he didn't register a stat during the COVID year.
I believe he is out of eligibility.
Yeah, he started playing in 2021. So
I would dig around if I'm Carson Beck's camp. Because,
find something?
Yeah, I would think that. Who is their number 2? Do they have a highly recruited guy that is sitting back
a
there?
Rashada and a recruit coming in.
Now, wait a minute. Georgia was kind to him. He only appeared in 4 games 2021. So that keeps his redshirt, right? If you're only playing 4. So, he only appeared in 4 games. So Georgia was smart with that. So he does have another year of eligibility left.
And I would rather have that proven product. I know he's been inconsistent this year, but if I'm Kirby Smart, I know he's got a plan, but it would be worth having the conversation with Carson Beck because Carson Beck is not a first-round guy.
Yeah.
He's cut the interceptions down. There was a time where he was turning it over left and right.
It's just like in Athens, you get a lot of consistency outside of the first half against Georgia Tech, but there are a lot of broken up halves with Carson Beck.
But when you guys pick them to win the national championship, and I think you've each done it at one point.
I have, and I've backed off, too.
It's been because of when Carson Beck makes NFL-like throws, he can still be the best quarterback in the country at times.
I think, if you got the best 2-minute highlights of Carson Beck, to even a guy like Shedeur Sanders, I think his best package might look better. Because of some of those throws he makes.
In your mind, how did he play against Georgia Tech?
I thought in the second half he played really well.
But just the whole game.
I mean, you probably give him a C. They won the game. And
you'd give him a C. He had 5 touchdowns, no picks.
I know.
I mean, that's the thing with
it's just
him.
because he was so bad in the first half.
He was so bad in the first half.
17-0.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing in the Bama game now. He had 3 picks in the Bama game, but in the second half, he was much better.
I mean, in the Texas game, he was bad. Defense won him Texas game.
Yeah. 7-0 Troy may be having his best day in the chat. He says there's a chance that Naheem Alford will have to redshirt before this announcement is made.
Did they start on time? Did it start at 10:30?
Yeah, there is nothing more obnoxious than wasting people's time.
Yeah, 45 minutes. Our buddy Jeff Spiegel is sitting there. Legendary broadcaster Hall of Famer Jeff Spiegel has been sitting there for 45 minutes.
Yeah, my man Speaks needs to get lunch.
Yeah, he's got to get back and do Talk of Alabama or something.
Yeah. Holy crap, 45 minutes just listening to people talk.
Ugh.
Yeah. That is miserable.
What would be awesome is everybody walked out.
Do you know,
No, I did back in the day occasionally.
Do you hate when you go to a program like that and you don't have the rundown? Like, used to in church, they would hand out the bulletin and you'd know at least where you stood. It's big in a wedding for me. Like, I like a wedding to have a good, solid bulletin so I know where I stand in the ceremonies, right? Like, when some old girl gets up and sing, I'm like, okay, I know where I am right here. We're close to the end. Yep. It's almost time to go eat, or I can go back home. But when you go to something like that and there's no rundown and you don't know what you're in for, that's a miserable experience for me.
Forrester will tell you, because I used to work opposite of him, that I could be an asshole occasionally. It shocks all of you.
That blows us away.
Breaking news. Flash the lights. It's breaking news.
Right.
At this point, I would have already shot the hats and him sitting behind the hats. And I walked out. I would have just shown that 15-second VO and then gone to a full screen of his announcement.
By the way, Alford selected.
Yeah. This is him at his signing today. He ended up picking up that Auburn hat or that Oregon
hat. I would
hat.
say this. He better be good if he's going to take that much time from people.
I would have done that. I pulled into a high school football game, regular season game one time. Big school, local school, because you go to the country, they used to love you for. So if you went out anywhere in Walker County or St. Clair County, they loved you. You went to the closer you got to the station, bigger assholes they were. And I pulled in one time. Did you call our athletic director and let him know you were coming? Your name's not on the gate here.
Got to sign in at the office.
I said, nope, I did not. And
you were in a 13 vehicle, right? A Channel 13 vehicle?
Yeah. And with a camera. And they were like, well, if you didn't call in, I said, don't worry about it. And I started to walk back to him. He said, well, no, come on, I can let you in. I said, no, don't worry about it. And I went, he's like, no, come on in. I said, nope. And I went and got in the car and drove off.
Vintage Dunaway.
I said, the hell with it then. If you don't want me here, it's good.
Does not surprise me at all.
There are 128 other high schools in my viewing area. I'll go cover them.
Does not surprise me at all. Yeah. That is vintage Dunaway right there. Nope.
Never had a problem with that gate again. Walked in anytime we wanted.
Come on in.
Yeah, come on in. All right. 4 Downs Every Day is brought to you by our friends at Slice. Tell us about Slice LT.
5 locations for you. Stop in for lunch or dinner. We actually had lunch there yesterday. I got the slice and a salad, that Redmont salad, one of the Bajaya's special slices. They've got different specialty pizzas each and every day on the menu. Make sure you stop into one of those 5 locations. Local pizza, local ingredients. For more information, you can always go online, slicebirmingham.com.
First down.
Wait a minute, they're just now to the head coach? How is he not the first guy to talk for us?
Yep, the head coach is just now talking.
So who was everybody else?
Yeah,
how does school coaches and everything?
That's a great question, Tyler.
I mean, like babysitters.
I mean, how do you not start with the head coach? How's he not the guy that, hey, I want to welcome you?
I was his first Pop Warner receiver.
How many different ways can you say that this player was dedicated and hardworking?
According to the chat room, about 17 different ways right now.
Wow.
But,
Everybody wants their 15
I know.
minutes. If you could only have one for the rest of your life, the microwave or the spoon?
The spoon. I don't use the microwave a ton now. This is cheating a little bit. I use the air fryer more than the microwave.
I use the air fryer too. But
if you took away the air fryer,
I only really use the microwave to just to reheat some soup or for a sweet potato.
I think I would keep the spoon.
Yeah, I would go spoon.
I think I would go spoon too. It'd be tougher with the kids because they use the microwave all the time. But, in this new alignment we've got in the kitchen, the one thing I'm missing, because it was designed for the microwave pull-out drawer, which I don't know why that's a thing now.
Right.
But I still have like a gap, and I haven't put my microwave in. So I've got to go downstairs if I'm ever going to use a microwave, so I just don't use it. But I do use a spoon, especially for chili.
Yeah.
Up here, we're hard to keep the spoons are the first thing to go up here.
Yeah.
So I've actually got a spoon from the house in my bag right now for my yogurt.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Does Maggie know this?
So you use a spoon and then wrap it back up?
You wash it every
take it
night,
home
right?
and get a different spoon and bring it tomorrow. But I'm just saying.
Yeah, why don't you just
go
get
a hard spoon today?
Why don't you just bring plastic spoons? Throw them away.
But I forget to bring plastic spoons.
Well, you bring that spoon every day.
I did because I don't have plastic spoons sitting at the house.
Well, you can go buy a whole thing 50 for $1.
I know, but I do that and I leave them up here. I've done that, and then all of you guys use them.
I forget to bring a plastic spoon. You go, you bring that.
We don't have plastic spoons at the house either.
Yeah. No, you
Second down.
I've heard all the stores are out of them too. Don't even try.
Yeah.
Marissa Tomei, 60 years old.
I loved her in her prime, man. My cousin Vinny.
I think she looked better outside of that.
I liked her, my cousin
in the
Vinny.
Wrestler and the Spider-Mans.
Never did it for me.
I thought that Aunt May, I thought that was kind of her height. So Marissa Tomei, 60. Tyra Banks, 51. If I asked you guys ultimately better career, Marissa Tomei, Tyra Banks. Marissa Tomei does have an Oscar.
She does. From My Cousin Vinny, right?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I would go Tomei, but Tyra Banks as a model was one of the best in the world.
And she had the modeling reality show, which made her a lot of money.
And Marissa Tomei broke your 35-year-old rule. She got past 35 years old in Hollywood.
She did, because I think she, again, aged better.
Yeah.
If you're just going flat looks, Dunaway, you're going Tyra?
I'm going Tyra.
I would go Tyra flat looks, but I'm surprised you don't think Marissa Tomei is sneaky.
Never. I mean, look at me.
Oh,
if she wanted to go out, I would have gone out. Absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I think I'll go Marissa on that one.
Third down.
I am a big My Cousin Vinny fan, so it's hard to go away from Marissa Tomei for me.
Jeff Bridges, 75 years old today. Ultimately, better career, Jeff Bridges or Jeff Gordon?
Jeff Gordon Dunaway. It's going to be controversial. Mount Rushmore of NASCAR definitely includes Richard Petty, Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Yeah, you did that backwards.
Okay,
Dale Earnhardt Sr.
Richard Petty. Yeah.
Sadly, you probably have to put Jimmy Johnson up there because he won seven times.
That's what I was going to say. And Jeff Gordon becomes in that next group of discussion, right?
Yeah, I probably would have Gordon on Mount Rushmore, and despite the record, Jimmy Johnson would be like the ACC for me.
Yeah, he'd get punt.
Sadly, he'd be left out.
Yeah, that's right.
And I would have to go for an Alabama version.
Even if Gordon is on the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR, it's so far down from what most people would view, like one of the A-list Hollywood actors that did it for 5 decades plus.
But there was a moment in time NASCAR was so big that Jeff Gordon was hosting that show with Kelly Ripa.
That's right.
In New York.
And I think he did Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. So
That was for a moment, though. I bet Jeff Bridges has hosted Saturday Night Live 3 times over the last 40 years.
I'm gonna say Jeff Gordon.
I'm gonna go Jeff Bridges.
I think in their respective fields. That's all I was trying to get at. Gordon was bigger in his field than Bridges is in his.
I would agree with that.
Yeah,
but again,
that's why
I think there's
Gordon.
such a difference in the fields.
There's definitely a difference in the fields, yeah.
I mean, seriously, we're going to finish 4 downs and this kid hadn't committed yet?
It appears.
Fourth down.
Insanity.
Jay-Z, 55 today. Better career, Jay-Z or the Toronto Blue Jays?
I see what you did there. I'm going to go Jay-Z in a blowout here.
Blue Jays have the one world championship, right? Joe Carter walk-off?
They got it. Yep, 93. I think that's it.
They became a franchise in 76.
Well, they were really good in the 90s.
Yeah, they were really good, but
only one to show for it.
I've been to a game at Skydome, by the way.
Now, here's what's interesting. I would assume the Toronto Blue Jays are worth more, but it might be close. A couple of years ago, they weren't.
Interesting.
I would think that Jay-Z is probably worth close to $2 billion.
Did you join the Sky Club?
I did not join the Sky Club, but I've been to Skydome. Saw them play Kirby Puckett and the Twins, Jim. Kirby Puckett was in the game.
That's great.
Pat Hintgen was the starter for the Blue Jays. You remember
Yeah,
Pat
I
Hintgen?
do. Yeah.
That's one of the greatest day in baseball history.
Alomar was playing second.
Yeah.
Roberto Alomar was playing second for them.
Yeah.
I think Olerud was still playing first for them. I'm trying to remember guys that were in the game that I saw.
Jay-Z easily here.
I would say Jay-Z, too. I think the Blue Jays are probably worth more.
I'm looking it up. Value of the Toronto Blue Jays, $2.1 billion.
It's got to be close.
What's Jay-Z's net worth?
I mean, it's close to $2 billion.
Yeah. Jeremy is saying $2.5 billion.
If you combine it with his wife.
That's true. 2.5. It is really tight.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go Jay-Z.
Yeah, I would go Jay-Z, too.
Yeah, crazy. That's 4 downs brought to you by our friends at Slice.
Yeah, 5 great locations created by the late Jeff Bajaya. His brothers, Jason and Chris, continue to celebrate his legacy. Get into one of those locations today for lunch or dinner. For more information, slicebirmingham.com.
I'm being told the Jays won back-to-back. Did they win 94 too? No, 94 was strike year. So was it 92, 93 they won?
I don't think they went back-to-back.
Okay.
Oh, well, you know what? Yeah, because they beat the Braves and they beat the Phillies.
Yeah, the Phillies was the Joe Carter walk-off, right? That was a
so
wild thing.
They did go back-to-back.
Yeah, they did go back-to-back.
They beat the Braves?
They did
Yeah.
in 92.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I remember that vividly. But I'd forgotten I'd made Joe Carter against the Braves. But you're right, Joe Carter was off Wild Thing Mitch Williams.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
Sure was.
So the Braves,
Ush with a quick
the
text
Braves
on that
lost to the Twins in the World
They
Series
lost
first.
to the Twins, the Jays.
The only team they beat was the Indians.
Yeah, the Yankees they lost to. I think those were their losses.
Yes, I don't remember the Blue Jays. I remember the Yankees. I remember the Twins.
You know, I can remember the Blue Jays. It's so random. I had been to a game at Neyland Stadium. It was an Alabama-Tennessee game. So you tell me that was 92, is that right? And I remember we were going back to the hotel, and we were listening to the game on the radio. And we got back to the hotel and watched it. I don't know why that's the vivid memory, but that's the vivid memory I have.
Beat the Braves in 6, Phillies in 5, says Jeremy. Thank you, Jeremy. They're apparently showing a montage highlight now.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
So it's like on the screen at the school, Scott?
By the
like
way,
a projector?
How good is this kid?
They dropped a projector screen, and now they're showing highlights.
Yeah, you know what has happened, right?
What? Well, we're approaching an hour is what has happened.
What has happened is they had told the fine folks in Oregon that we would do this at 9:30 Pacific time, and somebody got confused.
We got to fill?
Yeah, so they're filling to 11:30 Central, 9:30 in Eugene, Oregon.
They're doing a great job.
Yeah. Okay, 4 more minutes. 4 more minutes.
Got to be a first-year starter.
Give me a way to
dragging out like
wellness
this.
read is what they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm with Lance. This kid better deliver after this.
Champy's Chicken brings you this hour of the show. We'll do trash and update you on the commitment when we come back on the other side.
Maybe.
In the back room, Brownie already knows the answer. In the back room, what did I do, Forrester, yesterday that would shock everybody?
I don't know that I know the answer.
Oh, yeah, I told you before the show.
I don't know that I know the answer.
Oh, you told me before the show, but I don't remember.
Actually went to a gym.
Oh, that's right. You did tell me that.
I was going to. You didn't ask me. I was going to say that.
Yeah, that's what he did, Lance. He went
Talk
to a gym.
about it all the time. Actually went to the gym.
What did you do?
Updated my card first. They don't. It's been so
Sir,
long.
we have not used these.
Seriously, that's exactly what it was.
Yeah.
I still had a hard little on your key fob.
Yeah.
And I walked in and I was like,
Did you try to scan it?
I was scanning in front of the little cameras, and you look in camera, and they were like, sir, do you not have the app download? I said, there's an app?
Yeah. I don't have a phone.
She's like, yeah, there's an app, and there's a QR code for your membership now.
Yeah.
So now
So-
you So it's changed in the last year.
I asked him which gym he went to. He goes, you remember the one we did the show from, right? I joined that day. I was like, you never cancel it. I
still have
never
that.
cancel it.
That was definitely Anthony Grant. I remember Alabama was playing a basketball game that day.
Yep.
When we were doing the show from out there.
So you're thinking 2013, 2014?
Yeah.
You've been a member of that gym for a decade.
It's only it only costs $1 to sign up. And
wait, so that's your first time to ever go?
No, I've been many times. A lot in 2015 and 16.
Yeah.
And 17.
So what'd you do yesterday at the gym?
I did a little upper body. Can't you tell today?
He goes to the gym for the first day. He's doing upper body.
Hey, it's all about effort, Dunaway.
Yeah.
Now, what will be more interesting is if you go back to the gym.
I'm busy tomorrow and Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, it was good to get it started when you can't follow
One time
up.
a week's not going to do a lot for you.
Probably back on Monday.
Okay.
No miss Mondays.
Probably back on Mondays.
No miss Mondays.
So
you miss
it's our Mondays.
Gun show on Mondays.
Champy's Chicken, right there on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We can't take a break without this kid committing.
Yeah, we can.
Champy's Chicken right there. Swing by there. See
done
Sterling.
it twice now.
Are we going overtime?
See Sterling and the fine folks at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. Those big, great, brined overnight fried chicken. It's so good. Hand-cut chicken fingers. Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. In fact, they'll probably read you that tamale recipe for you at the offer commitment here in a second. It's all right there at Champy's Chicken, Highway 119 in Alabaster. Another break and then trash and other things on the other side.
Take the next round anywhere you go with official Next Round gear. Buy yours today at nextround.store.
Hey, let me tell you about our friends at Urology Centers of Alabama. Compassionate and comprehensive urological care with 35 physicians, 17 locations across Alabama. Their patient-centered approach to all of your urological needs. Remember, they've got that new men's health center. It is beautiful, helping men with a wide range of sensitive male issues in a comfortable environment. You can always go online, visit urologycentersalabama.com, schedule an appointment with one of their many urologists today.
Follow Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. The social media team at Next Round Live is dedicated to giving you daily news conferences and practice video from UAB, Alabama, Auburn, and around college football. Follow and compare to the sites you used to visit. You'll also get the latest highlights and news from the Next Round Daily Show. Turn on the notifications so you don't miss a thing. Next Round Live on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. See more at nextroundlive.com.
A legendary coach once said, "It's not the will to win that matters. It is the will to prepare to win." Hi, I'm Bobby Humphrey, Vice President of Business Development for Bryant Bank, and I can tell you that our Bryant bankers have the dedication and experience to put together a financial game plan that is right for you. At Bryant Bank, we specialize in community banking and offer personal and business loans, checking and savings account, mobile banking, and treasury management services. Stop by one of our 18 offices across the state of Alabama to find out what unbeatable service and legendary results are all about.
Man, I love a good meal. I'm Jim Dunaway. A good meal is what you get with my friend Sterling at Champy's Chicken on Highway 119 in Alabaster. We're talking great southern fried chicken, wonderful sides, hand-cut chicken fingers, po' boys, and those Mississippi Delta recipe tamales. You got a perfect menu for everybody. Champy's Chicken is perfect for watching the big game, or taking a meal to the lake house, down to the coast, or stay in the restaurant and dine in a great atmosphere. It's all made fresh to order right there on 119 in Alabaster, Champy's Chicken.
Hey, there's nothing worse than waking up to a plumbing problem. Don't get caught in a flooded house. Call the guys at Hemp Hill Services. Adam, Chad, and the team at Hemp Hill are the only ones I trust to fix it and fix it right the first time. Hemp Hill Services does it right and always at a fair price. For all of your plumbing, cooling, and heating needs, trust the name that Birmingham has trusted since 1954. That is Hemp Hill Services. Call now, 205-229-2090. That's 205-229-2090.
Storm season is here. Make sure you have a plan of action in place right now. Greg from Pell City and Storm Restoration Roofing should be your first call when storms hit. Insurance companies love working with Storm Restoration Roofing because of Greg Nelson's name and reputation in the industry. When storms hit, call Greg Nelson. He's local, 205-542-3531. He's the home of the free no-cost roof inspection. Greg from Pell City on Facebook, 205-542-3531. It's Storm Restoration Roofing.
Hey, you. It's the holidays. Give cheer a lift. And at New Balance Birmingham, we got the gift. That holiday vibe? Find it inside. Come together at New Balance Birmingham on Highway 280, right next to Chick-fil-A. New Balance Birmingham, we got now.
This hour of The Next Round is presented by the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, now featuring 7 days of giveaways with your chance to win a share of up to $125,000. The more you visit the Birmingham Racecourse Casino, the more chances you have to win.
At Academy Sports and Outdoors, we believe the best holiday fun happens out there. On the driveway with a new basketball hoop, out back around the fire pit, or up in the deer stand. No matter your fun, we've got it. The right stuff at the right price. Academy. Have fun out there.
Back with you on the next round. Cut one if you can, Tyler. This is our Hemp Hill sound of the day. It's from Hugh Freeze after the loss to Alabama on what he's trying to do today with his recruiting at Auburn. And then Brown will give us an updated team standings, all brought to you by our friends at Hemp Hill. Here's the Auburn head coach.
I think we're improving with a lot of young kids that are very talented. Again, you got to go recruit. And, you know, I've said it before that some of the teams we're playing in this in particular game, they've had top 5 recruiting classes a lot of straight years. We've had one top 10 class, and hopefully we're getting ready to have a second. And it does nobody, but nobody wants to really hear that. I mean, I know it's true, but at the same time, we had chances to win games with who we are, and that's the frustrating part for everyone, me included.
Well, they are currently number 4. That's where last time we checked it on 3, they were. I assume this Naheem offered when he commits next hour would help, but it seems to be conventional wisdom he's going to Oregon.
Nobody wants to hear. Why do you say it?
It's a great question.
I mean,
yes. Or excuse me, Auburn has just dropped to 6. I think on 3 is given the kid you're waiting on there. I was going to look. No, they don't have him credited Oregon yet. Well, that's something you say, Lance.
So are you calling it there?
No, I am not at all, Jim. I was just giving you an updated at Refresh for some reason, and Auburn dropped.
Didn't know if the Fox News desk had called it over there.
No, we were still waiting on returns from Pennsylvania. Auburn is 6 nationally, according to On 3. Oregon has moved to 5. Last time we had checked, Auburn was at 5. That's the thing you say when you're like, what I'm about to say sounds like an excuse, so I'm going to say nobody wants to hear this. And I don't think it's an excuse. I mean, he's right about what he says. Auburn is behind in recruiting.
But I think all Auburn fans know that. I mean, that's why Bryan Harsin, head's been on a spike for a while.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it started with Gus Malzahn. I mean, Harsin definitely did not help it, but Gus started it.
We started the show with people griping about Alabama being with a path to the college football playoffs. I just want to point out something. There's only one unbeaten team. That is Oregon, right?
That's it.
The highest-rated one-loss team, Brown, is from what conference?
The highest?
It's Texas.
Texas from the SEC,
okay.
yeah.
Highest-rated two-loss team is at number 5. That is Georgia. What conference?
Georgia's the SEC.
The highest-ranked three-loss team is Alabama. They're from what conference?
Well, that's Southeastern Conference, Jim.
Yeah. So
highest-rated 4-loss team? Do we go that far?
They don't make the rankings, but I bet it would be an SEC team.
Probably so.
So, you're sitting there with Oregon, who's the only unbeaten team, and then the highest-rated team, the 1-loss, the 2-loss, and the 3-loss is their SEC teams. The SEC gets...
There's at least some consistency there.
Benefit of the doubt.
Well, and look, they deserve the benefit of the doubt. Let's just look at the national champions over the last 25 years. And when you start to look at the schedule, I really didn't think we would be here, and I wonder if this is going to be the outlier or this is going to be the norm with a bunch of 3-loss teams as opposed to the 2-loss teams. I thought it would be more, just because we're not used to seeing, Georgia and Alabama might lose a game a year. We were never used to seeing them lose 2 and 3 in a season.
That's right. South Carolina, obviously with the head-to-head. Ole Miss had some reasons maybe to be upset. Lane Kiffin, he tried to, in one tweet, take a shot at being behind Alabama, but also at the ACC at the same time. he was sort of working both angles in one tweet. Lane Kiffin sending it out last night, talking about Ole Miss's strength of schedule, and then about what the ACC, that you guys want to be pacified, basically, he was saying in his tweet last night. So Lane Kiffin in a rock and a hard place.
Well, I mean, those teams are so much alike, Alabama, Ole Miss, and South Carolina. I can argue against both of them, or all three of them. I can argue for all three of them. And somebody was telling me last night, I don't think Alabama deserves to be in with that loss to Oklahoma. I said, I'm fine with that. Who'd you put in? I'd put in Ole Miss. I was like, they lost at home to Kentucky. You can't tell me there's a difference in losing at Oklahoma and losing to Alabama lost worse. Okay, yeah, they lost worse, but it's a loss
on the road.
Yeah.
To a 6-win team as opposed to at home to a 4-win team.
To a bad Kentucky team.
Who may end up still in the next few days with Mark Stoops. Those two aren't getting along right now. I don't know if you've been paying attention to the postseason here. They can't afford to fire Mark Stoops, or you wouldn't want to spend that kind of money to fire Mark Stoops. But if Iowa came open for some reason, you reach a financial settlement if you're Mark Stoops to take that job. I will let you off the hook, Kentucky, for X amount of dollars, and I'll go take the Iowa job.
Look, and the Iowa job in the pecking order of the Big Ten is a better job than Kentucky is in the pecking order of the SEC. I would just say this, South Carolina, I think they're playing obviously better than both Alabama and Ole Miss at this particular moment, winning 6 consecutive games. But it's easy to put them on the backside just because of the head-to-head.
Yeah, and then that's the whole thing is they lost head-to-head. So it's harder. Like overall, if you just go blind resume, you might pick South Carolina until you unveil in the blind resume, hey, 2 of those losses were Alabama and Ole Miss, who's right in front of them. And when you increase the field size, you had to decrease the requirements to get into the field. That's math, right? Everybody knew that it was going to require less to make a 12-team playoff than a 14 playoff.
Forrester is telling me Jordan Crawford has picked Auburn. Was that a surprise to you, Forrester, or was this expected?
No, he was already committed to Auburn. Big D lineman there at Parker.
Okay. So he is already he's at the same announcement?
Yes. That's Offord's teammate.
Aren't we all?
He's the opening act.
Are they gonna
one of many.
Will there be an intermission, Scott?
There should be at this point. Somebody's got to be.
This is Dunaway doing stand-up.
They're flashing.
Yeah, who's in charge of the light back there? Send a text to Speegs.
You want me to text Speegs?
They're asking, is this him at the podium now before we hit the trash open? Is this him?
No, I don't believe that's Offord.
No, this is the second set of speakers.
How good is Parker? Are they playing this week at Protective Stadium?
Yeah, they're in the 6A state championship game.
So they're really good.
They're loaded.
I mean, they got to get to practice.
I was about to say practice is more important.
Hell, it's almost game time. When do they play?
They'll play
Thursday?
That'll be Friday night.
Protective Stadium in Birmingham, by the way, if you want to go watch the Super 7. It's about all I know about high school football.
Go Moody.
It's a bigger ticket than the Big Ten championship.
That's right. I can get in cheaper at the Big Ten.
Moody's in it. Scott Forrester's neighborhood school there for his daughters. Thompson, play-by-play, and analyst Tim Melton on the back row there. Thompson plays. When's the Thompson game? Is that Thursday?
No, that's tonight. 7 o'clock.
It's tonight at 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
By the way, the Moody girls are playing in the flag football state championship game right now.
We have flag football? No, I knew that.
You're married?
They're playing right now?
Right.
They're playing right now.
They let them out of class?
Currently tied 7-7 in the second quarter.
Do I get to miss class if I'm a Moody student to go to that, Scott?
Yes.
I'd have done that in a heartbeat. I used to do that every time.
My oldest is there.
Yeah, every time I do that.
Just pull the car outside the chain link fence and just scroll your phone all day.
All right. Gosh, we'll interrupt trash if this kid ever commits.
No, please don't. Who cares?
He's got to wait till he has to wait till after trash now.
Okay, it's trash time.
I think he might be stepping up now.
No, did you ever tell us about Hemphill?
Yeah, I did. 205-229-2090, hemphillservices.com.
I'll try to buy a little time there. You think he's stepping up right now?
Yes, that's offered at the table now.
Yeah, but how long's a guy? He will go past we're off today.
No, their video froze.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
Are you kidding me?
Oh, I hit the trash open.
Screw it.
Yeah.
In honor of this ceremony.
Well, shit. What are y'all doing? This is awful.
Is it still the awful
it's
commitment?
Still March. How many days in March?
LT's Trash is presented by Mortgage Right. Mortgages done the right way.
Hey, if you're looking for a new home, our friends at Mortgage Right here to help. So remember, whether you're looking for your final home, your first home, whether you have a big down payment or need 100% financing, Mortgage Right, one-stop shop for mortgages. Visit them online, mortgageright.com. Call 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender. You guys ever eat Jack in the Box?
I've never had it.
I never have either.
I've always liked it. It's, I don't know how I would consider it in the chain of fast food chains.
I always thought it was California Checkers.
You know, most people remember Jack in the Box when somebody got salmonella years ago from the meat and died.
I was going to say it was the 80s, I think.
Their commercials were incredible back in the day.
The big white head with the nose?
Yeah. And it was kind of blue humor back before you could really get away with it. But back when all the Lakers games were on K-Cal, they ran the hell out of these Jack in the Box.
I thought it was more like Crystal. Is Jack in the Box not a Crystal?
No, it's not like a Sliders. I mean, it's... But I'll show you. I mean, their menu is really expanded. Jack in the Box is now testing a new burrito that is filled with, among other things, is it yakisoba noodles? Yep. Yakisoba noodles. They're calling it the sauced and loaded chicken noodle burrito. It's available for a limited time. Jack in the Box's sauced and loaded chicken burrito features sweet and spicy honey, garlic, sriracha tossed with the yakisoba noodle, crispy or grilled white meat chicken, broccoli, shredded carrots wrapped in a flour tortilla. It is also served in a bowl if you want it. $7.99 each. You can get it in a combo meal with an egg roll. Look, if you're specializing in burgers, I just don't know why you have these options. What it does is it diminishes all of your other products.
Yeah, so this is becoming then West Coast Cookout.
You don't get anything quite
cookout like that.
Oh wow, Tyler.
Until they start offering hush puppies and quesadillas with the combo.
I guarantee you, Jack in the Box got a better burger than Cookouts. I haven't had it, so it's hard for me to say.
This is higher end than what you'd find at Cookout.
I mean, but I can already see behind it are two tacos, so they got tacos
too. Oh yeah, they've had
Yeah.
tacos for a while.
I do you not think that looks good though?
I don't
I actually
because
think it looks pretty good.
I mean, it feels like that burrito is
Ugh.
going to get really soggy.
Yeah, that looks like a complete mess.
You
I
think
wouldn't
so?
like the texture of the tortilla and then the noodle. That would be.
Well,
I eat a turkey and dressing sandwich.
Yakisoba
So
noodles are supposed to be.
Last time I went to Jack in the Box, 8 a.m. and got a double cheeseburger.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So Japan has launched drinkable mayo.
Ugh, I don't even like undrinkable mayo.
Love mayo.
I would literally spit that out.
Yeah, is it not just milk?
I wouldn't drink it, but I do love me some mayo. I like mayo about as much as Taylor likes her ranch.
Oh my God.
Soy sauce might be the first thing that springs to mind when considering a condiment to pair with sushi, but for many in Japan, they love a squirt of mayonnaise. Although not indigenous to the country, mayonnaise is very, very common. It can be found on anything from pizza to traditional foods. There are pop-up mayonnaise-themed cafes and a museum dedicated to the nation's favorite brand, Keepi? Queepy?
Kewpie.
Do you know this?
Yeah, I have a bottle of Kewpie mayonnaise in my fridge right now.
No, you don't.
I do. It's delicious.
Where did you buy it?
Walmart.
They sell Japanese mayonnaise?
Yeah.
We do have an Asian influx in the States, so yeah, I mean, there's a market
What
for
makes it better than just like Dukes or Bama?
So they only
can't be
use
better than
the
Dukes.
egg yolks, so it's like a richer, like more egg taste.
That's what they tell you.
That's Tyler selling
BS.
on it.
And then there's also different like spices added, so you get a little.
Now, I don't
different
like
flavor.
mayonnaise, so
Is it
I
runny like this? Is it you pour it in?
That looks like half and half.
I haven't seen that. That
Okay.
looks disgusting. It comes in the bottle shaped like this, though.
Okay.
Here on the right.
Yeah, I think Duke's is the best, personally. But you see it, stylish silver cup adorned with the illustration Japanese-style squeezed mayonnaise bottle.
Okay, does it cost more than Bama or Duke?
Yeah, what's the price point on Japanese mayonnaise?
I think
It's got to be more because of the import.
You would think, but it wasn't bad at all. It was right about the same price as a jar of
Red
Hellmann's
flag.
or Dukes.
Yes,
Wait till the tariff.
That's right.
That's true.
It's only 25% of whatever you're paying for mayo, Jim.
If a mascot hit on you, would you snitch on the mascot?
Oh, I saw this story, LT. It pissed me off.
What pissed you off, the
I don't
mascot or
I
the
don't
girl?
know if I believe it.
You
Yeah,
think
this
the girl's
girl.
just
I'm not even going to
clamoring
say
for
her name.
attention?
I'm with LT. This
Yeah,
is
This is an attention grab?
I'm not going to
Yeah.
say her name.
Okay.
When I pre-read it, I'm not going to say her name. But we have a university, the University of Miami Hurricanes mascot recently blasted online for hitting on a sports broadcaster during the game on Saturday between Syracuse and Miami. This chick, sports anchor, reporter for CNY Central, publicly criticized Sebastian for romantic gestures on the field. Quote, Sebastian, the mascot, kneeled down and asked for my number mid-drive. Feels like he has bigger things to worry about with his team on the ropes the fourth quarter at the Dome. Who am I to say, though? Now, the Hurricanes mascot, busy trying to win over this girl. Sebastian also behaved a little differently during the second half while he was trying to score a date while the Hurricanes were taking blow by blow from the Orange. They said that she rejected him. I don't get the story, but...
Well, I mean, she posted it, made it all the way into the New York Post, which is insanity.
I'm sure he was kidding. Like, there's no way like he's going to get a date with somebody without seeing what the guy looks like.
First off, by the way, he is the Miami mascot. And not to be insulting, but he walking from his place of home in Miami and Coral Gables on his way to the location wherever he picks up his mascot head, he's going to pass 62 of hers.
Well, you don't know what he looks like. Then.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got 62 options better than her at his campus.
So how about this story? My sister-in-law is a Clemson grad. She was over at the house Saturday. They were in town for Thanksgiving, and we had on the Clemson-South Carolina game on the big screen. It was a good game, so I'm glad it was a good game because she wanted to watch it, and we had Ohio State and all that on the side. But anyway, she was telling the story like she went on a couple dates with this guy at Clemson and didn't know he was one of the mascots. Like he was in the tiger costume because you're not supposed to say anything. So she was, I'm at a game, and the tiger mascot keeps coming up to me and kind of giving me the side hug and messing with me. And I'm like, what is going on here? It turns out it was the guy she was dating. Didn't know that. Isn't that
So do you
She
get?
found out later he was the tiger mascot.
Big Al does that to me, and we've never been on a date.
I mean, grab assing will get you canceled quickly as a mascot, right?
Yeah, it's several years ago at Clemson.
I love in this article, though, it says, however, this girl showed professionalism by adding to her viral post to discuss Syracuse's historic victory.
Yep. I think it was a good tweet, good line. They've got bigger concerns being behind in the Dome, and it seems like that was an opportunity for her to send out a really creative tweet.
Right.
Well, and she ought to be flattered that the mascot was taking time during a drive to ask her for her number.
It's an actual duck.
Did he touch her inappropropriately or anything like that?
Did not get that.
Yeah, then that becomes criminal.
It's a different story there.
It's criminal.
Alleged criminal chose the wrong time to shoplift at a Walmart in Virginia, according to police in Chesterfield County. Man was arrested for shoplifting at a Walmart store during a, quote, shop with a cop shopping event.
Yeah. They'll never suspect it.
This guy looks angrier than the guy yesterday.
He does. He's pissed off Caleb Williams, but they would never suspect it at that point. To his defense, I think it might have been a good time to try.
Well, I think what he's pissed off, he decided to get his, they do have, I think, a salon at some of these Walmarts.
Yeah.
And somebody
gapped him.
Yeah, they got him with the clippers there.
Oh, pissed off Caleb Williams out there shoplifting.
Well, you didn't want it shaved?
The annual event pairs local officers with families in need to help them buy holiday gifts for their kids. On Sunday, the Walmart store was packed with people there for the event, included more than 50 uniformed officers at the store.
By the way, he looks like he's lost 4 straight to Michigan.
Now, quote, as we
Ryan
approached
Daybeard.
from different directions, he tried to escape out of the back of the store where he was apprehended. The suspect, 32-year-old Hector Maldonado. Officers learned he was wanted for failure to appear in another shoplifting case. Maldonado was charged with felony grand larceny for the shop with a cop incident. Not the smartest, man.
Not the smartest, but there again, if ever the time the police would have their guard down, it's when you're doing shop with a cop. If you were going to get away with it, was maybe worth the try right there. It didn't work out for him.
Yeah, I was going to say most of the times you probably would case it, and if you see a couple of officers, you probably walk out.
That's when you turn around, yeah.
But
generally.
maybe he did know the event. I doubt it.
They'll never suspect I'm going to walk in here and shoplift all these cops here.
That is trash brought to you today by our friends at Mortgage Right.
Yeah, our friends at Mortgage Right, the mortgage experts. They are veteran-founded here in Birmingham, offer loans throughout the country. While the area they serve may have grown, their commitment to Birmingham and veterans has not changed. Before you take the next steps on a new home purchase or refinance, talk with the team at Mortgage Right. No obligation, 205-900-7200, NMLS 2239, Equal Housing Lender.
While we were away, Forrester.
Okay, so here's how it went down. This is ABC 3340's video. They played highlights of offered on the projector screen,
While
and
the Hurricanes
then
were taking blow by blow
they roll up
from
the projector
orange.
screen. He's wearing an
They
Auburn
said
hat.
that,
She throws it off. And
I don't
he's
get
going
the story,
to
but
Oh, and he threw the Auburn hat?
Hey, yeah, I threw it in front right there. Maybe somebody got him.
Okay, rewind that and show that to me again. I would never want this kid, if he ever hits the portal at this point.
Oh, yeah.
No, you take him in a
you take him in a
second.
heartbeat if he can cover. Wow. Hey, maybe he just threw it to somebody, Jim. Maybe there's an Auburn fan on the front row that got a free hat. So he picked Oregon, is the takeaway here.
He's a Duck.
He is a Duck. Hour and 45 minutes took, but he picked Oregon. Jim doesn't like it.
Well, I'm just saying that's a. I felt like I was led to believe that this was a chance he was going to go Auburn today, and
well, I think
he literally just took the hat off, Jim.
I think
we were also led to believe that he would make his commitment an hour ago.
That's true.
Yeah.
True.
I think every Auburn person up here was telling you he was going to Oregon.
not originally. Originally, I was told, "Hey, circle 10:30. This offered commitment could get interesting."
Yeah.
Is that not what you told me, Forster?
I mean,
it
was
did
I
get
wrong?
interesting. It did
Was
get
I wrong?
interesting.
He also told you to circle 10:30.
Yeah, he did. All right, so there's part of National Signing Day, brought to you in part by our friends at Roback today, roback.com. TNR 20, I've got a little Roback on right here.
Yeah, you do.
I got a little Roback on.
You got a little Roback
do.
on.
I got a little Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, Roback right there, roback.com. TNR 20 gets you 20% off. That QR code right there will take you there. How good of a Christmas gift is this right here? In fact, I've had a couple of people who were I'll just say they reached out for the TNR 20, the promo code, to get their boyfriend some Christmas gifts this year.
Oh,
Yeah,
very
yeah.
nice. It's a good idea on your part.
Yeah. Golf gear, the hoodies, the casual wear for the active woman in
Did
your
you
life
just give
as
something
well.
away, by the way?
Yeah, what? Give something away?
Yeah.
No, it was not my daughter. It was somebody else's. I did slow down who it was. So
Okay.
I was about
Slow
to
him down.
I was about to give it away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, more people up here are married than have boyfriends, right?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I mean, Maddie's not going to get you Roback. Y'all been together
Oh, it's a good gift.
Yeah, you've got Roback. You've got a connection at Roback. She don't have to gift you Roback. Roback gifts you stuff. Roback's going to give you Roback for Christmas. No, it's some friends of mine.
Okay.
Yeah. I would
Just
not,
wondering.
Yeah, I would not ruin one of your Christmas gifts. You're going to enjoy that little.
He's denying it too much now. It's 100% you. Yeah, I figured it out.
I just loved he snuck in boyfriend.
TNR 20 gets you 20% off. Roback.com. We appreciate you guys so much. Okay, we'll end with what we started with, the college football playoffs. So quickly, just basketball. How do you think it plays out tonight?
Well, I do have a play on the Auburn Duke game,
But not
Alabama,
North
North Carolina. Man, that is such a coin flip. I mean, both teams aren't playing great. North Carolina just lost 2 of 3 in the Maui.
For those that don't remember, they still have R.J. Davis, who's there.
Yeah, I would say this. I mean, R.J. Davis, Mark Sears, is going to be a fun matchup to watch, but something is off with Mark Sears. I don't know what it is. By the way,
I think he's pressing.
Mark Sears, Wanda Sykes, little lookalike.
bit, yeah.
Do you see it?
With the hair, especially.
Yeah, I don't see that.
Pull it up whenever you can.
Yeah.
But last 5 games, 19 of 66, 9 of 38 behind the arc. And I don't know if he's pressing. I mean, Aaron Suttles made this point on Bama and Bourbon yesterday that maybe it's a situation where, eligibility is up. He got his draft grade last year. It wasn't great. One of the reasons he came back, based on his size, he really needs to maybe prove a lot. I don't think he does. I think he needs to go out and play like he played last year.
And he'll get a shot.
The thing with Auburn and Duke, I don't know if you heard Jimmy Dykes talking about this during the Clemson-Kentucky game. The Maui hangover for Auburn. And I haven't really followed this over the years, but he said that's a real thing. Like, people will talk about the Maui hangover. He goes, guys, that's a real thing.
That you spend so much time in that time zone in Hawaii. You fly back. You're on the road in Hawaii.
Yep.
Beach time.
That's right.
A lot of fun. Then you fly back to the East Coast or the South, the Gulf Coast.
They've been back for a week now. I mean, it's not like they just landed from Maui in, Durham, North Carolina. But Jimmy Dykes was talking about these. That Maui hangover is a real thing, and that's what Auburn will have to overcome.
We'll see.
Think about it. You come back, and then you go off for Thanksgiving.
Yeah. I mean, maybe he's right. I don't know. I don't think he would call it a real thing if he didn't know. It's the hair. I mean, there's no...
Yeah, but if I said Wanda Sykes is his mom, he'd be like,
maybe. I've seen his mom shoot those free throws in the bleachers, so I know it's not. But the eyes and the hair, I think from eyes up to hair, I could see it maybe.
In that Auburn contest tonight, number 1 offense versus number 1 defense, the advantage will be the Auburn defense, number 7 in the country. to the 23rd offense. And Cooper Flagg's a dynamic scorer. 15 points, though, is his average per game.
Yeah, 15-8 guy, but he's going to get better. I mean, the more comfortable he gets, and, he is one of these guys that can absolutely do everything. But Broome is playing at such a high level, coming off being the MVP at that Maui Invitational. I mean, he was unstoppable out there.
And to me, Alabama, who's continuing to figure out their rotation, now has to figure it out without Latrell Wrightsell. More minutes for some people. May work out really good for LeBaron Philon and Aiden Holloway if they live up to that role. Final thought here now on what we saw last night. And Alabama is in a very good position, but they don't control their own destiny. Only the winning-in teams control their own destiny. SMU's in a really good spot. Just around the table one more time. Your final thought on what we saw last night with Alabama.
Yeah, I think Alabama is in. Obviously, if SMU wins, if Clemson wins, and it's like this iconic down-to-the-wire finish, Alabama could be in trouble. Outside of that, Clemson wins this game by a touchdown plus. I think Alabama's in.
And for Kalen DeBoer, if he's able to secure a top 5 recruiting class and to be one of these 12 teams in the playoffs and maybe win some games, man, you can't ask for a better first year. You beat one of your two biggest rivals.
You could ask for a better first year, but I mean, I think it's an acceptable first year is the way I would put it. Like if they're in the playoffs, and what did you say? If they're in playoffs and they advance a round,
yeah,
or
I mean,
just
if you get in,
in?
you advance.
You get in, you
and
advance.
You got a top 5 class.
You get in, you advance. There's a lot that's forgotten.
I think even if you get in, I think there's a lot that's forgotten because most people, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, they said 9-3 or 10-2. That was kind of the number. If 9-3 gets you in, we didn't expect 9-3 would get you in. But if 9-3 gets you in, and there's only 4 SEC teams that get into this, I mean, there's a lot to build off that. I think all will be forgiven if they do get in here.
I think you forget a lot about Vanderbilt, and you forget a lot about Tennessee. It is hard to forget what happened in Norman, Oklahoma. But if they get in advance, maybe you forget what happened in Norman, Oklahoma. Maybe so. I don't know. I guess we'll just have to see the temperature of Alabama fans.
And you beat Auburn and LSU. You lost to Tennessee, 2 of your 3 biggest rivals. Beat Georgia, another big rival. And that top 5 recruiting class is pretty huge, too. Now, we've already seen Kobe Prentice reports say nothing official until the 9th that he would hit the portal. You would expect to see some others hit the portal as well. You just want them to do it if they're after the playoffs until that announcement is made on Sunday. All right, very busy day. We'll have all the reaction to the basketball tonight on our social media platforms and tomorrow at 9 a.m. Central Time. Until next time, God bless you and God bless America.